Chapter 98. Dark North Divine Art and Absorbing Star's Great Technique have been successfully upgraded. He can't do anything about the next level. All the basic martial arts have been used up, and the rest is the most basic martial arts. Unless he can buy them in the mall, but the price is too high. This is the only way for the time being, unless I have too much crazy point. Otherwise I really can't upgrade anymore. Then Tianyan looked at his property bar. All the details are listed. Player, Tianyan level, 29 9th level core condensation, EXP. 38728 crazy point prestige. 130 points cultivation technique. Dark North divine art. Dragon god secret art. Xiantian divine art martial arts. Absorbing stars great technique. Blood fiend soaring heaven weapon. Frost fist blood fiend divine spear. Sword of endlessness. Chaotic heaven sacred axe. Low-grade soul tool. Armor. Divine armor, shadow cloak, chaotic heaven divine armor. Low-grade soul tool. Chaotic heaven battle boots low-grade soul tool divine ability. Crazy mode luck aura bloodline. Dragon god bloodline decoration. Forging god hammer, power bracelet, power ring, power belt, blood fiend bracelet all items. 27 recovery medicinal pill. Gift pack LV31. Life X1. Bad luck divine pill treasure. Purple fire divine furnace, appraisal eye title. Guardian Tianyan shook his head when he saw that the EXP required was 3.5 million. It was too much to ask for. He needs to kill a lot of core condensation cultivators, or demon beasts to upgrade it. But he cleared out a lot of things, such as those martial arts that he doesn't need. Immediately he focused on the set. This is the set that dropped from killing old ancestor when Tian. He immediately equipped it. You have successfully equipped the Chaotic Heaven Divine Armor and the Chaotic Heaven Combat Boots. The two-piece set's attributes, doubled defense power and movement speed. Tianyan's eyes lit up. This set is worthy of being a soul tool. It's much better than the Snow Wolf Battle Boots. Otherwise he wouldn't sell them. Snow Wolf Battle Boots can't be upgraded, so he sold it. Continue to equip the Chaotic Heaven Sacred Axe. Tianyan equipped the Chaotic Heaven Sacred Axe. Shortly after, a huge axe fell into his hands. It was covered with a dense layer of divine runes. A chaotic aura was released from the axe, giving him a feeling that he could split space apart with a single slash. Ding! Successfully equipped the Chaotic Heaven Sacred Axe. 3-piece set. Attributes. Defense doubled, movement speed tripled, strength doubled. The attributes of the perfect equipment set were displayed. This time, not only did his movement speed increase, his strength was also doubled. Sure enough, the set was perfect. It was much better than picking up a weapon alone. Very good. Tianyan's eyes lit up. Just this set of equipment has increased his combat power by 60,000 points. Overall combat strength was actually a very vague concept. It didn't mean that one's damage was particularly high. If one's defense was very high, one's overall combat strength would still be able to be heaven-defying. But it doesn't mean that he can easily kill others. Therefore, this 60,000 battle power, if really counted in the battle damage, is only 20,000 to 30,000 points. He did a quick check and found that his total combat power had reached 110,000. Without using Berserk mode, he has reached 110,000 battle power. Does this mean that in Berserk mode, he can reach 400,000 battle power? The answer is of course impossible. This is to increase the damage, not the defense. Not bad this time. Even if I face a spirit core stage powerhouse, I should be able to deal with it. Tianyan has never fought with a spirit core stage powerhouse, so he is not very clear about how strong the opponent is. Immediately, after cleaning up, he walked out of the room. Just as he walked out, he saw a disciple standing next to him waiting. Elder you came out. The palace master asked you to look for her after you come out. The disciple said, Aunt is looking for me? Tianyan smiled. Even if Shi Shuiyan didn't look for him, he would have gone to look for her. Immediately, he went to the main hall and found Shi Shuiyan. Just as he entered the room, he saw Shi Shuiyan discussing with several elders. The old ancestors have gone back to their seclusion. They don't have much time left, so the affairs of the palace have nothing to do with them. Moreover, there is Shi Shuiyan to deal with everything. so there is no need to worry. Tianyan, you are here. When Shi Shuiyan looked up and saw Tianyan, she smiled slightly. Palace Master, you called me? Tianyan walked in and asked. Yes, we have mostly cleaned up. There are only a few disciples left from the three forces, so it was quickly cleaned up without any accidents. This time, we have collected some weapons, a few medicinal pills, but most of them are spirit herbs. Among them, Wing Sect has a lot of materials. You happen to know how to refine tools, so we plan to give these materials to you to refine. Shi Shuiyan smiled. This is just right. Tianyan smiled and said. Why don't you give me all the collected spirit herbs? Why, do you know an alchemist? Shi Shuiyan asked. My good aunt, didn't I say before I know alchemy? Tianyan is not willing to call her palace master, so he directly called her aunt. He is a little helpless. He has already said it once before. But Shi Shuiyan did not take it seriously. You really know alchemy? I forgot about this. After all, you have never done alchemy before. They all showed a shocked expression. Not only can he refine tools, but also alchemy? Is this really possible? Yes, I also have this soul tool level purple fire divine furnace. Do you think I can refine pills? He took out the purple fire divine furnace and held it in the palm of his hand. When they saw it, they were shocked. This is a soul tool level alchemy furnace. It is more valuable than a middle grade soul tool. The two are not the same concept. Weapons are weapons, treasures are treasures. In fact, Aunt, even if you didn't ask me to come, I was going to come. Tianyan smiled and said. After this war, the strength of Jade Palace is obviously too weak. I suggest to use our reputation this time to expand the recruitment of disciples. As for weapons and pills, I will refine them and train a large number of disciples in spirit refinement realm as the backbone. This time we raided the home of the three major forces. We got a lot of martial arts, we can use it. Great Tianyan, you think the same as me? Shi Shuiyan was surprised. Of course, don't you know what relationship I have with you? Tianyan smiled. The two of them have a tacit understanding. The three elders looked at each other. It seems that there are still a lot of steps left. Although they got a lot of things from raiding the house. But it is still limited. Especially in terms of pills, they need to refine them. Now with Tianyan's help, it is undoubtedly much easier. Then, we will work hard to train disciples, promote the entire Jade Palace to a second-level force. We can't let other forces look down on us. Tianyan firmly said. Chapter 99. Tianyan suddenly thought of something. He gently waved his hand. A lot of human-level martial arts and earth-level martial arts appeared on the table. These are all taken out from heaven's immersing ancient ruins. He didn't integrate them, nor did he sell them, he planned to give them to Jade Palace. These are human-level martial arts, and earth-level martial arts. When Shi Shuiyan and the others saw this pile of things, they were suddenly shocked, especially earth-level martial arts, which is extremely rare. Shi Shuiyan picked up one or two of them and was shocked. Where did this come from? And there are so many of them, they look good. Although we raided three forces. But by the time we arrived, most of the martial arts were already taken. So the number of martial arts we can take is relatively small. You just happen to fill the biggest gap. When they first raided the Jade Palace, the things they got were materials, some weapons and pills. The old ancestors of the three forces were killed. Other forces must have heard the news, or the disciples who stayed inside, heard that they were going to attack, so they immediately took what they could. So when they arrived, those that were too far away were all taken away. On the contrary, the materials were taken the least. Most of them took the finished products. This is a long story, in fact, I got it from heaven's immersing ancient ruins. Wait for a while, I will tell Aunt. Tianyan laughed. From heaven's immersing ancient ruins. I almost forgot to ask you. It's obviously closed. How can you come out? Shi Shuiyan was puzzled. The other elders are the same. We will talk about this next time. Let's refine pills first, then start training disciples. That is the focus now. Tianyan didn't say it. He planned to only take Shi Shuiyan. The less people know about this, the better. Shi Shuiyan nodded and didn't ask much. Shi Shuiyan didn't ask. The other elders are even more embarrassed to ask more. After discussing the plan, Yi Tianyan immediately began to refine weapons and pills. He is now intermediate blacksmith master, and will soon enter advanced blacksmith master. It was the same for beginner alchemy expert. After refining a batch of pills, he would definitely be able to advance to intermediate alchemy expert. After all the materials were in his hands, he began to refine crazily. His priority was to refine the body refining elixir. He refined them one by one. It was actually very simple for him to complete this mainline task. That is, it was enough to constantly strengthen the disciples of the body refinement stage. Therefore, a lot of body refining pills were needed. Only by taking body refining pills would one's cultivation speed increase. Unlike Yi Tianyan, they didn't have this system, so their cultivation speed wasn't that fast. Even taking the body refining elixir would take a long time to achieve this goal. Of course, it wouldn't take too long. At least with a large number of body refining pills, the time would be greatly reduced. Yi Tianyan didn't know how long he had been refining, one furnace after another. Every time he refined, he would be able to refine dozens of body refining pills. He didn't know how many furnaces he had refined. Ding! Successfully refined the body refining pill. The reward is 3,000 experience points. Alchemy proficiency increased by 50 points. Ding! Congratulations to player, Yi Tianyan. Beginner alchemy expert successfully upgraded to intermediate alchemy expert. Finally succeeded. Yi Tianyan's heart was filled with joy. After refining for so long, he finally succeeded in upgrading his level. According to this level, he was already equivalent to a 4th grade alchemist, which was considered a relatively high level. At least at this age, there were very few people who could surpass him. However, he didn't stop refining, but increased the intensity and continued to refine the body refining pills. Due to the improvement of his alchemy expert, this time he increased the number of pills he refined to hundreds. The increase in level was not useless. Whether it was the speed of refining or the success rate, there was a significant increase. It was just that repeating this process was obviously a bit boring. As he continued, he refined batch after batch of pills, until he finished refining all the materials he needed. After refining the pill materials, he began to refine weapons, all of which were high-grade spiritual weapons. Ding! Congratulations to player, Yi Tianyan. Intermediate blacksmith upgraded to advanced blacksmith. Good! Yi Tianyan slapped his thigh. Finally, he also upgraded to advanced blacksmith. This meant that his success rate in refining high-grade spiritual weapons was basically full. With his good luck, he could refine perfectly every time. Start refining. Like a madman, he began to refine day and night again. Young master, don't you want to rest? It's time to eat. Xiao Lian walked in with the rice, looking at Yi Tianyan continuously refining things with a face full of worry. These days, she had been serving Yi Tianyan. It should be said that it had never changed. It was always her serving Yi Tianyan. Sister Xiao Lian, you're here. Yi Tianyan stopped and turned to look at Xiao Lian and said, "These are your pills and weapons. Right, there are also some silver, these are all for you." Xiao Lian looked at the storage ring handed over. She suddenly froze and didn't know what was going on. Young master, I can't accept any of this. I can't accept any of this. Xiao Lian's cultivation was not high, but she was also at the 6th or 7th level of the body refinement stage. If she had enough pills, she could still break through. You've taken care of me these days. It's already the best credit. Yi Tianyan stuffed the storage ring to her and said with a faint smile. These days, I saw that you were distracted. Are you missing home or your parents at home? Xiao Lian was not an orphan. She had parents, but they were not here, but in a remote countryside. For the past few days, she had been absent-minded, as if she was thinking about something. She stood there in a daze, and no one knew what she was thinking about. Young master. Xiao Lian's eyes were red, but she shook her head. Say it. We are not strangers, we grew up together, I treat you as my sister. Yi Tianyan's expression became serious. He knew that things will not be simple. My father is seriously ill at home. There is no money at home, I. Xiao Lian thought about it and cried. Sister Xiao Lian, why don't you tell us? Tianyan grabbed her shoulder and said, "Take these things back. I will refine some recovery pills for you to bring back. Your father will definitely recover. Isn't it just money? I prepared a few hundred gold for you. Is that enough?" But, I didn't do much to resist those intruders. I just hid on the side. How can I take these things?" Xiao Lian shook her head and refused. "If you treat me as the young master, then bring these things back. If you want to repay us, cultivate hard, improve your cultivation, and contribute to Jade Palace in the future. This is the best repayment," Tianyan solemnly said. "And this is your father's situation, such a big thing. Why didn't you tell us?" Although Xiao Lian joined Jade Palace, it doesn't mean she is rich, plus she has been serving him. She has no time to go back. Now that Jade Palace is so busy, it is obviously unreasonable to leave without permission. So even if her father is seriously ill, she didn't choose to go back. Xiao Lian immediately nodded. "Then I don't need too many things. I just need some medicinal pills. I will go back to heal my father and come back immediately." "Sister Xiao Lian, you don't need to come back so soon. The situation here is okay. I don't need anyone's help. Just go back and take care of your father. After a while, I will come back to you." Tianyan smiled. He really treats Xiao Lian as his own sister. Other people just roll their eyes at him. Only Xiao Lian and Shi Shuiyan are good to him. Just this point alone, how can he not care about Xiao Lian? "Young master." Xiao Lian bit her lips and finally nodded. Young master's great kindness Xiao Lian will never forget. She was about to kneel down, but immediately Tianyan helped her up. "Sister Xiao Lian, how can you be like this?" Tianyan said with a straight face. "Do you think that I am a different person now that my cultivation is stronger?" Xiao Lian didn't dare to look at Tianyan. There is no doubt that her expression has already answered the question. Tianyan's cultivation is getting stronger and stronger, has become unattainable, not like the previous young master who needs to be taken care of. Whether it is the answer or anything else, she has to be respectful, not daring to talk nonsense. "I am still the same person. Whether it is now or in the future, I will not change, Sister Xiao Lian. You will always be my sister." Tianyan smiled and said, "Don't be too restrained in front of me. Just treat me as the previous young master." "Young master?" Xiao Lian looked at him. Her eyes are red again. Tears are constantly falling, like a broken string of dew, constantly dripping on the ground. No wonder Xiao Lian doesn't talk to me. It turns out that she is too afraid of me. Tianyan sighed deeply. It seems that he has neglected the people around him. Chapter 100. A week later, Tianyan came out of his room. His whole body looked messy. He didn't care about his appearance at all. He stayed in his room to refine things for so long. How can his image still be good? When he entered the main hall, many of the disciples saw him and began to laugh. It looked a little too funny. Usually it looked bright and clean, but today it looked messy and strange. "Aunt, I'm here." Tianyan came over with a smile. "Tianyan, thanks for your hard work." Shi Shuiyan looked at Tianyan coming over. She didn't laugh at him like other people, but thanked him gently. Over the past few days, she had been busy as well. She had been continuously recruiting more disciples. Due to the publicity this time, many cultivators had joined. Even some talented cultivators, who can join second-level sect, came to join Jade Palace. But this time, Jade Palace is more strict than before. Before there was a traitor, so they are more cautious. They must have a clean background. They don't want anyone who doesn't have a clean background. So in the selection of disciples, the talent can be low, but the background must be clean enough. This is more important than anything. No matter how talented you are, if you are stabbed in the back, you are still trash. So these days, she didn't have time to see Tianyan's situation. She is busy here. But her heart is always worried about Tianyan, especially her beautiful eyes, full of concern and worry, but more than that, exhaustion. She is also physically and mentally exhausted. Otherwise she would have gone to see Tianyan. Tianyan's heart is touched. Only his aunt will not care about anything. No matter what situation he is in, she is willing to stay with him. Just a single sentence was already enough. "It's not hard. I have already refined a batch. If it is not enough, I will continue to refine. Yi Tianyan smiled. Then come over here. The elders are all in the examination hall. Shi Shuiyan took him to the assessment hall, where there are dozens of disciples waiting here, ready to take the assessment. Everyone's expression is nervous. Whether they can join Jade Palace or not depends on this assessment result. Great Elder, let's pause the examination for a moment. Let's go back to the room and distribute the items, Shi Shuiyan said. When the Great Elder saw Elder Yi, she immediately stood up. They all knew what to do. However, Yi Tianyan's appearance attracted the attention of many girls who were preparing to join. They sized up Yi Tianyan curiously. I heard that there is only one male elder in Jade Palace. Is that him? You look messy. What did you do just now? I heard that he's very powerful. I wonder if that's true? Many girls discussed. As the only male elder of Jade Palace, they are very curious. The most important thing was that the rumors outside were saying that Yi Tianyan was very powerful, even more powerful than the palace master. There were also rumors saying that he was a demon who killed without blinking an eye. There were all kinds of rumors, and the more they spread, the more exaggerated they became. Wait! Yi Tianyan stretched out his hand to block, and immediately in full view of everyone, he waved his hand, and all the weapons and pills were released by him, piled up in this examination hall. There are dozens of upper-grade spirit tools, and even more than a dozen superb spirit tools. In addition, there is a large number of body-refining pill. Other people have a bottle, but he piled them up. It looks like there are more than 100 bottles. And it looks like this bottle is not small. They don't know how many pills are inside. These are the results of refining all the materials. There are dozens of weapons and thousands of pills. This scene is very amazing. The new disciples who joined the examination are also shocked to see this scene. They don't know what pill is in the bottle, but they know what the level of the weapons are. The lowest is upper-grade spirit tool, and the highest is superb spirit tool. As for the level of soul tool, to be honest, Yi Tianyan has a little confidence in forging it, but the materials are too low level, he can't forge it at all. Otherwise it will be even more shocking. As the saying goes, it is not good to show your wealth, but he wants to show his wealth, to shock everyone, to let these new disciples know that their Jade Palace has a lot of resources. They can use it on them. These are the resources of Jade Palace. These pills are body refining pill and spirit refining pill. As long as you perform well enough and work hard enough, these things are all yours. Yi Tianyan turned to look at them and said, Shi Shuiyan at this time knows what Yi Tianyan is doing. To put it bluntly, he is tempting them, but also to encourage them. Really, these may all be ours. Really? This is great. These are all spirit tools, and they are all upper-grade spirit tools. There is also superb spirit tool. Oh my God! When I passed by the treasure pavilion, I took a look at the spirit tool. It is much worse than here. They immediately exploded, shocked by these pills and weapons. They didn't expect Jade Palace to be so strong. It is already beyond their imagination. Several elders looked at each other and didn't say anything. It's good to show it here. This scene not only fell into the eyes of the new disciples, but also some of the original disciples of Jade Palace. Their eyes are shining. Yes, these resources are only a small part, whether it is new disciples or already joined disciples. As long as you perform well enough, as long as you are loyal to Jade Palace, we will invest a lot of resources for you. Shi Shuiyan added on the side, letting those disciples who have already joined to cheer up. This is a good thing. Looking at their expression, Yi Tianyan nodded with satisfaction. This is the result he wants. They just joined, and they don't know much about this place, so it is undoubtedly the best choice to shock the new disciples. After explaining, Yi Tianyan and Shi Shuiyan went out. There is no material here for the time being. I plan to go buy it myself, and come back after a while. Yi Tianyan smiled lightly. Aunt, I will leave this place to you. This batch of pills should be enough for a while. There is no need. I will order people to buy it. There is no need to go in person. Shi Shuiyan said. It is not that problem. Sister Xiaolian's father is seriously ill at home. I plan to go and see him. Sister Xiaolian has been taking care of me for a long time. I didn't expect her father to be seriously ill, and she is still staying by his side to take care of me. If I didn't see the situation, I don't think she would go back. Yi Tianyan sighed. Shi Shuiyan was startled, and immediately said with a sad face, "No wonder I noticed something wrong with her before. It turned out that this kind of thing happened, and she refused to say a word. That's fine, leave it to us." "That's good. I will buy some materials by the way. This time we must promote Jade Palace to second-level faction, and stabilize Jade Palace's position. In addition to completing the main quest, Yi Tianyan also wants to make Jade Palace stronger. This is Shi Shuiyan's painstaking effort, he can't ignore it." "Good boy, you are getting more and more like an elder. Didn't you say you don't care about these things?" Shi Shuiyan said with a smile. I am worried that Aunt will be too busy, so I will help you." Yi Tianyan smiled. "That's fine. Remember to help me in the future." Shi Shuiyan thought for a moment, and immediately grabbed Yi Tianyan's hand, and said worriedly, "Tianyan, you must pay attention to your safety. I know you are very strong now, but there is always someone better than you, don't cause trouble. If something happens to you, what do you want me to do?" As she spoke, her eyes reddened. So many things had happened before, and she had been too worried. Yi Tianyan looked at this pitiful expression. He gently hugged her in his arms and firmly said, "Don't worry, I will be fine if I die. I won't be able to see Aunt again? I swear, I will protect Aunt for the rest of my life." Chapter 101. After saying goodbye, Yi Tianyan tidied up his things, and went to the village where Xiao Lian stayed. If it wasn't for Xiao Lian, he would have chosen to come down in person, find those treasure pavilions to buy materials, and then sell them to forge weapons. This way, he can make a lot of money first, then use the materials to forge weapons, and then sell them for crazy points. He just wants to make a lot of crazy points now. Otherwise his other martial arts are too difficult to upgrade, and the crazy points required are too much. The next stage is to upgrade Lucky Aura. After trying several times, he knows the importance of this thing. After a battle, it will greatly affect the drop rate. If he wants to make a fortune, he has to rely on it. But now he has to go to Sister Xiaolian's place. It won't be too late to buy them together. He prepared so many medicinal pills, enough for a long time. If I have enough materials, I can forge a lot of soul tools, and upgrade them to divine tool. Wouldn't I be invincible? Yi Tianyan wants to do this, but the process is too long. He is now advanced forging proficiency, he can forge soul tools, but the success rate is only 10%. Even with Lucky Aura, the success rate is only 20%. Therefore, in a short period of time, even if he really has a lot of materials, it is still difficult to succeed. The success rate is too low. It is better to try forging a best spirit tool. It is possible to forge one occasionally, but it is impossible to forge it all the time. So he is just thinking about it. Divine tool is not so easy to upgrade. Especially now the Frost Fist is only a low-grade soul tool. It is still 3 levels away from divine tool level. The proficiency required will certainly be a lot. Soon after, he found a direction and swiftly headed over. The place where Sister Xiaolian lived was relatively remote. It was further than Tianfeng City, so they had to travel a bit more. Unfortunately, the Snow Wolf is in Jade Palace as a guardian beast. Otherwise it will be faster to go there with the Snow Wolf. It is roughly this direction. It seems to be Gong Village. Yi Tianyan heard the direction from Xiao Lian, so he knows how to go. But the exact location is not very clear. After climbing several mountains in a row, he finally saw a small mountain village in the distance. Although he doesn't know if it is Gong Village, but he will know after asking. Something's not right. Yi Tianyan narrowed his eyes. He could see a group of people killing their way into the village and looting something. Many people were kneeling on the ground, not daring to move. When he continued to look, his expression changed because he saw Xiao Lian. "Lord Yin, we've already paid the money 3 months ago. Isn't it supposed to be paid once every 6 months? Why do we still have to pay this time? I hope that Lord Yin will let us off this time. We really can't pay anymore. If this goes on, the people in our village will starve to death." The village chief of Gong Village, Wu Lichuan, trembled as he knelt down and begged. Many of the villagers behind him knelt down and begged the group of people to let them go. The group of people in front of them is a group of bandits. The leader is called Yin Tiansheng. His cultivation is not low, reaching the second level of spirit refinement realm. The bandits behind him are his subordinates. Their cultivation is above the fourth level of body refinement realm. This group of people's cultivation is not bad, but they don't want to join a sect. After all, there is not enough freedom. If they don't have enough talent, the distribution of resources is pitiful. Being a bandit here is different. They often rob resources. Even if their talent is poor, their cultivation can still rise. The key is to be the king of a mountain. They can rob anything they like. They can rob any girl they like. It's much better than joining a shit sect. Who said we have to pay once every 6 months? We will pay whenever we want. Yin Tianxin glanced at the crowd coldly and said, "Is there anyone else who has any objection? I don't mind taking you back to the village and teaching you a lesson." Most of the people present are old and weak, women and children. There are very few able-bodied men. It is impossible for them to resist. Moreover, they are all cultivators. How can ordinary mortals fight against them? When he said this, many people trembled, but their eyes were filled with anger. They want to resist, but they can't. But we really don't have money. We really can't pay. Yin Tiansheng, can you give us some time? After a while we will pay again. Wu Lichuan knelt down. His old body can't stand the tossing. But Yin Tiansheng didn't show any mercy. You can't pay? That's fine. I remember there are a few able-bodied men here. Take them. Yin Tiansheng gestured to his men to arrest them. They really have a few able-bodied men here. But they are only 17 or 18 years old. They just grew up not long ago. This scared Wu Lichuan. He quickly got up and said, "We will pay, we will pay." Then he hurriedly gestured to his men to take some money. Then someone took some silver and handed it to Wu Lichuan. Wu Lichuan's body trembled. He raised the silver in his hand and handed it to Yin Tiansheng. Although it's not much, but for this small village it's quite rich. Yin Tiansheng squinted at him. He didn't take the silver, instead he kicked him. With a pung sound, Wu Lichuan flew out and directly vomited blood. Village head. At this time, Wang Dechuan rushed over and hugged Wu Lichuan. He looked at Yin Tiansheng angrily and said, "How can you still hit people? We have already paid the silver." "Why would I hit people? Just now you kept saying that you don't have money. Now look at you." Yin Tiansheng sneered. "It seems that you still have something to hide. Do you think I don't know? I heard that a beautiful girl came back with a lot of silver. Where is she hiding now?" The villager's face turned pale. They don't know who leaked the news? "If you don't want to tell me, then I will kill you first. If you don't tell me where she is, I will kill you one by one until you tell me." Yin Tiansheng took out a long sword and said to Wu Lichuan, "I will start with you, the incompetent village head. If you want to kill the village head, you will have to kill me first." Wang Dechuan stood in front of Wu Lichuan. He is not willing to hand over the village head. He is not afraid of Yin Tiansheng. "Oh, you have a backbone?" Yin Tiansheng sneered. "Then I will start with you, kill him." Immediately, one of the bandits beside him immediately pulled out his sword and rushed towards Wang Dechuan without hesitation. Wang Dechuan didn't even try to dodge. He blocked the sword head-on. Bang! The sword did not hit Wang Dechuan. Instead, the bandit was kicked and flew out. He fell on the ground, unable to get up. "You bunch of bandits, I am here, don't touch them." Xiao Lian came out of the room and glared at the bandits. Finally she couldn't help but run out. She couldn't stand it anymore. "Xiao Lian, why did you come out?" Wu Lichuan said in a trembling voice. "If you don't come out, they will kill you." Xiao Lian said angrily. "Oh, very kind, I like it." Yin Tiansheng licked his lips, looked at her and said, "I heard that you brought back a lot of silver and some pills? Come back with me. I promise I won't hurt you. I will also exempt you from paying for 3 years, how about it?" Chapter 102. Yin Tiansheng's answer made them furious. How can this be a good deal? They didn't protect Gong Village in the first place. Now they want to collect protection fees. Isn't this a scam? Now they want to capture Xiao Lian. Isn't this even worse? Dream on. Sister Xiao Lian will never go with you. Wang Dechuan stood up angrily. holding a wooden stick in his hand. But this wooden stick is useless to them. Their cultivation is too low. They can crush him with just a finger. Yin Tianxing completely ignored him, looked at Xiao Lian and said, "Hurry up and make your choice. If you don't come with me, you will watch them get killed one by one. If you choose to obey me, I can waive the protection fees for 3 years, and I won't continue to capture you." Xiao Lian's cultivation is not weak, but he doesn't put her in his eyes. The gap between their cultivation is too big. He can already see it from the situation just now. Xiaoyan gritted her teeth. Now that things had come to this, she had to make a choice. Otherwise, Yin Tianxing will really kill them one by one. He can still capture her. There is no other choice. This is the problem of strength. If you are too weak, you will be slaughtered. There is no other choice. Sister Xiao Lian, let's fight them. Even if we die, we can't let them succeed. Wang Duchuan's resolute and handsome face showed a bit of determination. He is afraid of death. But in the face of these bandits who have been oppressing them, his heart is filled with anger. "Oh, you're quite bold, but you can ask her, is your resistance really useful?" Yin Tianxing said contemptuously, looking down on them. "We would rather die than let Xiao Lian go with you. My son was captured by you. I don't even know if he is dead or alive. I will fight you. Yes, we have been oppressed by you. We have had enough." At this time, the others have stood up. No one chose to kneel down. They are all glaring at them. Of course, they are afraid of death. But if they continue to be oppressed, they are no different from being dead. Don't be so stubborn. Listen to official Yin, and let Xiaoyan go with him. This is Xiaoyan's good fortune. At this time, a wretched-looking man came out from the crowd, ran all the way to Yin Tianxing's side and said, "Moreover, we can waive the protection fee for 3 years. This has never happened before. If not for Lord Yun's protection, we would have long been eaten by demonic beasts." "Niuji, what nonsense are you spouting?" Wang Dechuan said angrily. "How can they protect us? There are no demon beasts nearby. We don't need their protection." "That's right, Niuji. Why are you speaking up for them? Could it be that you were the one who told them about Xiaolian?" At this time, someone immediately guessed what was going on. "Snitch." Niuji sneered and said, "A wise man submits to circumstances. Being trapped here all the time, one will starve to death sooner or later. Furthermore, Xiaolian brought back so many things, yet she only gave us a little. There are still a lot of things that she's unwilling to take out. She's really too stingy." After listening to this, everyone vomited blood. Xiaolian is even more furious. She really didn't take out everything, but she did take out most of the things to distribute, and she really didn't give them anything. So what? She and Niuji are not familiar with each other, so it doesn't matter if she gave or not. But she didn't expect that in the end. There was still a traitor. "No, I didn't expect you to be a traitor." Wu Lichuan was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. "I'm a traitor? Don't talk so much nonsense. I'm doing this for your own good." Niuji sneered and said, "Quickly obey Lord Yun's order. That's the wisest choice. Do you think you can resist Lord Yin? There is no doubt that he is the traitor. He was the one who told them about it. Otherwise, how could Yin Tianxing know about it in such a remote place? No wonder Yin Tianxing came back to collect protection fee in less than half a year. It was all because of Niuji that he was able to come back so quickly. You, I'll kill you." Wang Dechuan roared. With a long stick in his hand, he smashed towards Yi Tianyin. But he was quickly stopped by Xiaolian. "Don't be impulsive, you can't fight them." Xiaolian's eyes are also full of anger. She finally came back and distributed a lot of things to the villagers. She didn't expect to find a traitor, and a very dissatisfied traitor. But it's useless to say anything now. Xiaolian knows that this matter won't end easily. Yin Tianxing is so strong, she can't resist. "It seems that you're quite sensible. Tell me your final choice. To be honest, my patience is limited." Yin Tianxing looked down at them. His eyes are full of disdain. Xiaolian looked back at the villagers, finally gritted her teeth and said, "Well, I promise you. She has no choice, so what if she refuses? In front of a strong person, she can't refuse. If she refuses, the villagers will die. Xiaolian, don't go with them, you bunch of bastards, I'll kill you." At this time, A middle-aged man with a cane ran out of the house limping not fast. But after a few steps he fell to the ground. Father! Xiaolian hurriedly ran to her father and helped him up. Father, why did you come out? Didn't you want to stay in the room and rest? I didn't expect her to be his daughter. I remember breaking your leg before. I'm sorry. I didn't know that you are her father. If I knew, I would have been merciful. Yin Tianxing showed a cruel smile. He has no intention to repent. But since you have chosen to go with me, I will leave you some medicine. Xiao Lian's body trembled. She naturally knew her father's condition. His leg was broken because of Yin Tianxing, not because of a serious illness. Old Lu, it's your daughter's fortune to be able to leave with Lord Yin. Why must you be so stubborn? Niuji chuckled. His wretched expression made others want to give him a slap. You traitor, get out of here, Old Lu said angrily. Don't let me see you again, or I will kill you. I don't know who will fight who, and I will go back with Yin Darren. How can I stay in this broken village? Niuji said with an arrogant look. He betrayed Yin Tianxing as a traitor as compensation. Yin Tianxing took him in. That's why he is so confident. A group of people looked at Niuji angrily. Their Gong village. How can there be such a scum? It's almost time, it's time to go, Yin Tianxing said. Xiaoyan's body trembled. She immediately signaled the other villagers to help her take her father back. She immediately stood up and walked towards Yin Tianxing. Sister Xiaolian, don't go. Xiaolian, come back quickly. Don't go, I will stop them. At this time, Yin Tianxing's men quickly stopped them. They pushed them back. They can't resist at all. Father, you have to take care. Xiaoyan's eyes are red. She can only make this sacrifice. Looking at this scene, Yin Tianxing showed a happy smile. He likes to see this kind of situation the most. I want to see who dares to take you away. At this time, a familiar voice came from outside. Everyone looked up and saw a handsome young man standing outside. His eyes were cold. Chapter 103. Xiao Lian didn't expect Yi Tianyan to really come. Originally she wanted to say that there are a lot of bandits here, and she wanted Yi Tianyan to help clear them. But she didn't say it in the end. In addition to the growing gap between them, she felt a sense of inferiority. Yi Tianyan is very busy, so she didn't dare to say it. Now when Yi Tianyan appeared in front of her, she couldn't help but burst into tears. At this most critical moment Yi Tianyan appeared. This is the same as when Jade Palace was in danger. He appeared in front of her. But that was for Jade Palace. This time it's for herself. Yi Tianyan walked in with cold eyes, glanced at the group of people. He understood the situation here. Fortunately he came quickly. Otherwise Xiao Lian would have been taken away. Ding! Do you wish to accept the random quest? Xiao Lian's worry. Protect Gong Village? Reward. 50,000 experience points, 30 prestige points, 50 favorability points from Lu Minglian, 100 favorability points from all villagers in Gong Village. Except, he didn't hear what the quest is, but when he heard Xiao Lian's worry, protect Gong Village, he didn't hesitate to accept it. I'd like to see who can take you away. Yi Tianyan looked at them coldly. When he appeared, everyone was stunned, and immediately the bandits burst into laughter. They didn't expect to see a hero. I was wondering who it was. I didn't expect to see a little kid, not even fully grown hair, trying to be a hero? Do you want to be a hero, and let Xiao Lian marry you? Niuji sneered. He didn't put Yi Tianyan in his eyes at all. Yin Tianxing is the same. He can't see through Yi Tianyan's cultivation. He can't see his depth. He completely treated him as an ordinary person. He came here to show off his power. I don't know where this little white face came from. Kill him. Yin Tianxing reached out his hand and motioned his men to kill him. Following that, his subordinates rushed forward with their blades, and without hesitation, they aimed at Yi Tianyan's body, aiming for his heart. The other villagers couldn't bear to look at this scene, so they turned their heads to the side. Yi Tianyan's eyes turned cold, and he ruthlessly kicked the bandit with his leg. Bang! The bandit was kicked into the forest, and there was no more sound. Ding! Successfully kill bandit. Get 600 EXP, 80 crazy point. Killing these small fries. Not only the experience is low, but also the crazy point is too low. For him now it was meaningless. However, He didn't care about the experience points. What he cared about was how to kill these bastards. He walked over step by step, and with just one kick, he made a person disappear. The terrifying power immediately shocked them. This is not bad. I advise you to obediently kneel down and beg for mercy. When Yin Daran beat you up, you will know what regret is. Niuji didn't forget to flatter Yin Tianxing. Yin Tianxing was flattered by Yi Tianyan's flattery. He looked at Yi Tianyan with contempt and said arrogantly, "It seems that your cultivation is not bad, but it's not worth mentioning in front of me. I will give you a chance to become my subordinate. Join me. You will be more beautiful than her. You can enjoy her however you want. You are strong. It is not worth it to die for her. For me, it is not worth it to play with her a few times." Say that again? These words suddenly made his voice become extremely cold, like a world of ice and snow raging around. Killing intent surged from his eyes. Yi Tianyan's voice was cold. The anger in his heart was released from his eyes through killing intent. He stared at Yin Tianxing. "Yo, your temper is quite big. Yin Daran accepted you as his subordinate. That is your blessing." Niuji saw Yin Tianxing full of confidence. He continued to flatter him. "Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. The power of Dragon's Treasure Stronghold is not as simple as it seems. You can never imagine how terrifying Dragon's Treasure Stronghold is. I will give you one last chance, obey or die." Yin Tianxing narrowed his eyes at Yi Tianyan. He didn't have time to be long-winded. If not for Yi Tianyan's ability, he really didn't want to talk too much. "Is that so? I only give you one choice, that is to die," Yi Tianyan said coldly. Yin Tianxing's eyes flashed coldly. He slowly walked towards Yi Tianyan and sneered. "I didn't expect you to have such courage. You dare to say such words to me. You have no chance. Even if you kneel down and beg for mercy, you will die." As soon as his voice fell, Yin Tianxing waved his hand and turned it into an eagle claw. He rushed towards Yi Tianyan. The ground slightly sunk. After releasing his spiritual power, Yin Tianxing stomped on the ground, leaving a deep footprint on the ground. He leaped high like a giant eagle, and then aimed at Yi Tianyan's head with his claws. He wants to kill Yi Tianyan. Very good eagle claw. If you are caught by this sharp claw, even a hard head will be crushed. Yi Tianyan is like a fool. He stood motionless in the same place, looking up at Yin Tianxing coming towards his head. "Haha, that kid is scared silly. Fighting with Yin Daran is courting death." Niuji laughed loudly. The villagers behind Yi Tianyan didn't dare to look at Yin Tianxing, because they have seen Yin Tianxing's attack. No matter what he does, he will definitely die. Quiet as a virgin, quick as a rabbit. "Come here." Yi Tianyan's eyes burst with light. He waved his hand like lightning. With an even faster speed, he grabbed Yin Tianxing's wrist and threw him to the ground. Bang! Yin Tianxing was heavily hit on the ground. He almost fainted. The power of this throw is amazing. He almost lost his life. He is still alive, but he felt that several of his bones are broken. Practicing the garbage eagle claw. This is all you got, and you still want to show off in front of me. Yi Tianyan saw through Yin Tianxing's martial art. This is not a popular martial art. He didn't know where he found it, but he just happened to practice it. So he can achieve this level of achievement, but it is still not popular. In this broken place, how can you find a good martial art? Moreover, his cultivation was not high to begin with. Your cultivation. Yin Tianxing, who almost fainted from the fall, was scared out of his wits. Just now when Yi Tianyan attacked him, he immediately knew that he kicked an iron plate, a very thick iron plate. His foundation is much stronger than his. Crack! What answered him was not words, but Yi Tianyan twisted his arm, abruptly broke his arm. Suddenly he screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Chapter 104. Where's your domineering attitude from before? Yi Tianyan stepped on his arm and looked at him coldly. Ah, please let me go. I was just talking nonsense just now. Please let me go. Just treat me as a fart and let me go. Yin Tianxing screamed in pain. The pain in his arm made him sweat profusely. He almost fainted. But Yi Tianyan is very good at controlling himself. He won't let Yin Tianxing faint so he can't enjoy the pain. Then your fart really stinks me. Yi Tianyun's eyes were cold as he lifted his foot and stomped down hard, breaking his other arm. The degree of ruthlessness left everyone dumbfounded. No one could imagine that a youth would do such a thing. No one knew that when Yi Tianyun was protecting Jade Palace, he killed many of them with his blade, and no one knew how many people he killed. Yun Tianxing screamed again. But he didn't faint. He kept kicking his legs to relieve the severe pain. When they looked up again, Niuji and the others were scared silly. Their mouths were wide open, and they didn't know what to do. It's your turn now. Are you ready? Yi Tianyun's eyes were cold. Yi Tianyun's words scared them out of their wits. They turned around and ran into the forest, hating their parents for not giving them 2 more legs. They know that if they don't escape now, they will end up like Yin Tianxing. They don't want to lose their arms. It's no different from dying. Trying to escape? Yi Tianyun's eyes turned cold. He stomped on the ground like a wild beast, and the ground shook under his stomp. In the blink of an eye, he had caught up to Niuji. The two of them were not even on the same level. Niuji turned his head, and when he saw Yi Tianyun's murderous intent, he felt his crotch was wet, and he almost peed himself. His legs immediately went soft, and he rolled forward. After rolling a few rounds, he quickly got up and cried, "My lord, we were wrong. We shouldn't have provoked you. We'll do anything for you, please let us go." He kept kowtowing, hoping to get forgiveness from Yi Tianyun's mouth, but Yi Tianyun's answer was a heavy kick on his chest. With a bang sound, he flew out like a ball, and was kicked back to the village. His injury was not serious, because he wanted the people of Gong village to deal with him personally. The rest of Yin Tianxing's men were much easier to deal with. They chased after them, and with a few kicks, they were all sent flying and lying on the ground. No one knows if they are still alive or not. In fact, when the system notification popped up, Yin Tianxing knew that they were dead, and all of them turned into insignificant EXP and flowed into the system. When he came back, Yin Tianxing was still rolling on the ground in pain. The feeling of broken bones in his arm is not so good. Many of the timid villagers did not dare to look at him, but many of them were happy, and most of them felt relieved. Please let me go." Yin Tianxing endured the pain. He knew that he could not resist. He was just a fish on the chopping block. Whether he lives or dies depends on Yi Tianyun's mood. "When you said that, you should have thought of the end result," Yi Tianyun said coldly. "You played with me once and then threw me away. Who do you think Shaolian is, you trash? Even if you die 100 times, you will not be able to appease my anger." I was just kidding," Yin Tianxing said regretfully. If he knew that Yi Tianyun was so strong, he wouldn't have done such a stupid thing. "Oh, that's a funny joke." Yi Tianyun kicked Yin Tianxing back to the village. Just like Niuji, he also went back to the village. Then he looked up at the other villagers and said, "I am Shaolian's younger brother. This time I came to help solve the problem. The rest of them will be dealt with by you. You can do whatever you want." "Younger brother?" They looked at each other. Since when did Lu Menglian have a younger brother? None of them knew this. But now they have surrounded Niuji and Yin Tianxing. The anger in their eyes, coupled with the weapons in their hands, this is a terrible thing. I am doing this for the village. It has nothing to do with me." Niuji looked at the villagers surrounding them, then looked at Wang Dechuan, who was holding a long stick. His heart trembled. Where is the arrogance from before? Now he is just a fart. "I suspect that the previous situation in Gong village was leaked by you. That's why we kept coming here to collect protection fees. No matter what kind of elixir we dug up, it will eventually be leaked to the outside world. At that time we suspected that there was a traitor in the village. I didn't expect it to be you," Wang Dechuan angrily said. "You two bastards, go to hell." The group of villagers waved the wooden sticks in their hands and smashed them one after another. All of them were beaten to death by this group of sticks. He hit him as hard as he could. He was beating him to death, venting all the anger he had accumulated over the past few days. Yi Tianyun came in front of Lu Menglian, but he usually doesn't call her full name. He always calls her Sister Shaolian. "Sister Shaolian, it seems that you are not honest. You didn't tell us what happened," Yi Tianyun said with a straight face. If he was slower, the result would have been completely different. I saw that young master was too busy. I didn't dare. Xiao Lian kept wiping her tears with the back of her hand. When she saw Yi Tianyan came, she suddenly loosened her grip. Her legs slightly softened. She fell forward, fell into Yi Tianyan's arms. He hugged her. If something happened to you, do you think Aunt won't be angry? Yi Tianyan can imagine. Sure, Shuiyan for Xiao Lian, in a fit of anger, she will also clean up that so-called dragon's treasure stronghold. But after cleaning up, if Xiao Lian is tainted, what can she do? But there is no but. It seems that I didn't express my words clearly before. You are already like our family, so don't bury your words in your heart. Say it out loud, okay? Yi Tianyan sighed and said, if something happens to you, we will always be sad. Do you think you are worthy of us? Young master. Xiao Lian's tears kept flowing. When she promised to go back with them, her heart was full of despair. After all, once they go, they will not be able to come back. And the things they will face can be imagined how tragic it is. Ding! Successfully completed the task. Reward 50,000 experience points, 30 prestige points. Lumilian's favorability points increased by 50 points. All villagers' favorability points increased by 100 points. The reward immediately came out. He easily completed the task, but in his heart he was not happy. Chapter 105. Ahem, Xiaolian, can't you introduce to us who this young hero is? Wu Lichuan and the others came over, and saw that Xiao Lian was still in Yi Tianyan's arms. A smile appeared on their faces. They all saw Yi Tianyan's performance just now. He helped them get revenge. So he must be a good person. Ah! Lu Minglian hurriedly got up from Yi Tianyan's arms. Her pretty face is full of red. She just fell into Yi Tianyan's arms. Now she was seen. It's very embarrassing. This is young master, the young master of Jade Palace. Lu Minglian hurriedly explained. Young master of Jade Palace? They are at a loss. They don't know much about this kind of thing. They are too far away from here. And besides farming here, they don't do anything else, so they don't know much about the outside world. They also don't know what kind of forces there are outside. At most they know that there is a dragon's treasure stronghold that controls the village here. I remember. It is the place where Sister Xiaolian joined. I didn't expect Jade Palace to send people to support us. Wang Dechuan patted his thigh excitedly. He walked over and said, Big brother, you are so powerful, can you teach me? If I can be as powerful as you, no one can bully Gong Village. Dechuan, what are you thinking? Is it that easy to cultivate? And young master's martial arts can't be taught casually. Lu Minglian glared at him. Wang Dechuan scratched his head and said, I just said it casually. I don't know much about the rules over there. It's okay, I will teach you later, but you have to practice hard. You can't give up halfway. Yi Tianyan laughed. Really? Wang Dechuan was shocked. Of course it's true. Do you think I will lie? Yi Tianyan smiled. Of course not, you are our savior. If it weren't for your appearance, Sister Xiaolian would have been captured by that beast. Wang Dechuan laughed. But at this time, Wu Lichuan suddenly patted his head and hastily said, Young hero, I advise you to leave quickly. If the dragon's treasure stronghold's people come, you won't be able to escape. We're preparing to evacuate. We can't stay here any longer. The other people's happy expressions immediately sank, and their faces were full of worry. They didn't want to leave their homes. After all, they didn't have much money on hand, so it was quite difficult for them to go out. Most importantly, their sons were captured and sent to the dragon's treasure stronghold. Now, it was unknown whether they were alive or dead, but none of them were willing to leave. All of them hoped that the dragon's treasure stronghold would release their sons, so they had been waiting here. Who knew that several years had passed, and they still hadn't released him? Instead, they had been capturing people, but they hadn't released him. Why should I leave? It's just the dragon's treasure stronghold. I'll just uproot it, and help you rescue your people. Yi Tianyan smiled. As soon as these words came out, they were shocked and speechless for a long time. They don't have any concept of cultivation. They only know that the dragon's treasure stronghold is very strong. And Yin Tianxing is just one of them. There are many people in the dragon's treasure stronghold. How can a single person fight against them? This young hero, I advise you not to go. The dragon's treasure stronghold is too strong. I heard that there is a strong cultivator who is even more powerful than Yun Tiansheng. Wu Lichuan shook his head and sighed. Young hero, although you are strong, can you fight against a group of people? You were able to save us just now. That's enough. We can't let you die for our own sake. The other villagers nodded. They don't think that Yi Tianyan is very strong, so they don't want Yi Tianyan to die. Yi Tianyan turned to look at Lu Menglian and said with a faint smile, Sister Xiaolian, are the people in the dragon's treasure stronghold very strong? Lu Menglian thought for a moment, then immediately shook her head and said, This is not very clear. But is young master really willing to help clean up this dragon's treasure stronghold? Yes, since I'm here, Sister Xiaoyan's problem is also my problem. So after I completely clean up this dragon's treasure stronghold, you don't have to worry about the future. Yi Tianyan said indifferently. This is the justice of the heavens, since they have done so much evil. Then I will clean them up in the name of the heavens. Ding! Successfully accepted Destroy Dragon's Treasure Stronghold quest. After completion, reward 150,000 EXP 10,000 Crazy Point, 100 Prestige Point. A new side quest popped up. It happens to be the task of destroying Dragon's Treasure Stronghold. Not only can it increase Crazy Point, but also increase Prestige Point by 100. The previous side quest gave him a dozen Prestige Point, but this time it gave him a lot of Prestige Point. Obviously, doing more good deeds, the reward will definitely increase Prestige Point, which he likes very much. After all, the effect of increasing Prestige Point is too much, as long as the value increases. Even if he doesn't have luck aura, he will still be very lucky. The village chief and the others looked at each other. Although it is good to help in dealing with Dragon's Treasure Stronghold, but if they die for it, they will feel guilty. Okay, I will go with young master. Lu Menglian was silent for a moment then nodded. I will also go with you, kill those bastards. I also want to go, my son was caught. I only have one life now, I will fight them. The other villagers immediately became excited. It is not that they are not afraid of death, but thinking that their son was caught for so long. They have long wanted to fight, but there is no one to lead them. There is no need. I will bring Sister Xiaolian, you guys just wait here for the news. Yi Tianyan said with a smile. Everything will go smoothly. I think this dragon's treasure stronghold will not be stronger than the three major forces, right? Lu Menglian's body shook, and immediately said excitedly. Yes, definitely not as strong as the three major forces. The three major forces were slaughtered by Yi Tianyan, let alone a trivial dragon's treasure stronghold. Then what are you worried about? The two of us are enough. Yi Tianyan said with a smile. Of course, I will bring you to help save people, but also to witness the destruction of Dragon's Treasure Stronghold by me. He doesn't need to inquire about the news. He knows that Dragon's Treasure Stronghold is definitely not that strong. If it is stronger than the three major forces, it would already be famous. At most 1 or 2 cultivators with good cultivation, it can't be that strong. Yes, Lu Menglian's eyes are shining. Thinking of Yi Tianyan's figure, she nodded vigorously. Her eyes are full of worship. Thinking of Yi Tianyan, who has been suppressed for a long time, now he has become so strong. She is even more gratified. Looking at their confidence, Wu Lichuan and the others look at each other. They don't know what to say. Xiaolian, are you sure you will be okay? Old Lu walked over with a cane, looking worried. Dad, there is no problem. He is the young master of our Jade Palace. He is very powerful. He can definitely help us eradicate Dragon's Treasure Stronghold. Let us live in peace forever. Lu Menglian's tone is sonorous, very convincing. Chapter 106. After preparing for a while, they will set off immediately. If Yun Tiansheng doesn't return for too long, it will definitely make them suspicious. So while they don't know what's going on, Yi Tianyan's plan is to kill them all in one go. Dragon's Treasure Stronghold is in front of us. Lu Menglian pointed at the stronghold in front of her. Her eyes are full of anger. This is the place that gave them an indelible memory. Yi Tianyan doesn't need Lu Menglian to say anything. He can see the Dragon's Treasure Stronghold not far away. The entire mountain is surrounded. It looks like an impenetrable castle. There are guards on the side to see if there are any intruders. Okay, then let's go, Tianyan said. Just like that. Lu Minglian is startled. This is the front of the stronghold. Won't they have to face a lot of bandits? Yes, let's go through the front gate. Tianyan walked up and said indifferently. Don't go more than 2 meters away from me, just follow me. Lu Minglian nodded. She didn't say anything. She completely obeys Tianyan's order. When they just got close to the dragon's treasure stronghold, the guard on the gate immediately saw Tianyan and said, You don't know that if you come close to the dragon's treasure stronghold, you will be severely punished. Then he pulled the bow in his hand, aimed at Tianyan and Lu Minglian and said, Don't move, don't think about leaving. If you move even a little bit, I don't mind nailing them to the ground with my bow. Just getting close to the dragon's treasure stronghold is equivalent to being captured. They can't even walk away. Tianyan didn't even look at him. He just threw a stone, and with a xiao sound, the stone penetrated the man's head. Ding! Successfully killed dragon's treasure stronghold guard. Gained 400 EXP, 30 crazy point. This is a pitiful amount, but there is no other way. These guards have low cultivation. Killing them doesn't give any EXP. He did not even use his lucky halo. There was no need for that at all. Lu Minglian was dumbfounded when she saw that a stone could kill someone. She had only seen it secretly before, and it had always been hidden in the dark. Because her cultivation was too low, she was always hiding at the back. She would only be a burden if she came out. Now that he was watching from the side, he finally felt how domineering Tianyan was. Killing someone with just a stone was a piece of cake for someone of his cultivation, especially when the opponent's cultivation was so weak. This was the difference in cultivation. Sister Xiaolian, let's go. Tianyan walked over and came to the gate. Suddenly, the chaotic heaven's sacred axe appeared in his hand. It was almost as tall as a person. The huge axe blade was sharp. As soon as he took it out and put it on the ground, a deep pit was formed. This chaotic heaven's sacred axe weighed several thousand kilograms. Without enough strength, it was impossible to lift it. Ding! Activating chaotic heaven suit attribute increase. Increase defense by 2 times, speed by 3 times, damage by 2 times. Originally, he had been wearing the chaotic heaven divine armor and the chaotic heaven combat boots. On the surface, it was not visible because he had hidden them. However, he could not hide his weapons. When the chaotic heaven sacred axe was taken out, his strength instantly increased, and his aura surged. Sometimes, to kill a chicken, you have to use a butcher's knife. Then, Tianyan raised the chaotic heaven sacred axe, aimed at the thick gate in front of him, and fiercely chopped down. A sharp saber light erupted from the chaotic heaven sacred axe, and blasted out. Boom! The thick gate, under the heavy blow of the axe, directly blasted a big hole. After the sharp saber light penetrated the gate, it continued to penetrate forward, leaving a deep ravine on the ground inside. It looked like a crack had appeared on the ground. Tianyan lifted his foot and walked in. What came into view were many houses. In addition, he saw many people farming in the distance or hanging up. Their bodies were full of injuries, and it looked shocking. There were many people, and a considerable part of them were obviously ordinary people. The judgment was very simple. Tianyan's appraisal eyes took in all the situation. With one look at such low combat power, he knew the situation. Sister Xiaolian. It's Sister Xiaolian. It's really Sister Xiaolian. When the group of people on the side saw Lu Minglian, they all raised their heads and looked at her in shock. They did not expect Lu Minglian to appear here. Xiaodong, Xiaoyan, she covered her mouth. They were all injured, and there were also many injuries on their faces. They looked as terrifying as a few centipedes crawling on their faces. In addition, there are a lot of people that Tianyan knew, but they didn't seem to be in good condition. But there are also a lot of people that Tianyan didn't know, but they were all imprisoned, their feet were shackled, and walking is a problem. Some of them were even worse. They were whipped by the bandits, and because they broke in they stopped. Ooh, who are you people? The guards immediately reacted, and quickly picked up the weapons at hand and rushed over. Nothing, just the people who killed you. Tianyan's eyes flashed, his body rushed forward, and suddenly waved his saber. A sharp saber light swept out. They didn't react. They were cut in half by this terrifying saber light. For a time, blood splashed everywhere, sprinkled all over the ground. Ding successfully killed a bandit, gained 700 EXP, 80 crazy point. Ding success. These bandits' cultivation is not high. They are all in the 6th or 7th level of body refinement realm. But soon, a spirit refinement realm cultivator rushed out, and when he saw the domineering Yi Tianyin, he was scared. There is an intruder, hurry, inform the leaders. The cultivator who rushed out hurriedly shouted. At this time, someone immediately sounded the alarm. The bell kept ringing and spread throughout the mountain. Dragon's Treasure Village has a total of 2 gates. Many people are on the other side. So when the alarm was sounded, they immediately came to rescue. What's the situation? Immediately, someone ran out of the house on the side. He looked around nervously, and finally his eyes fell on Yi Tianyin and Lu Minglian. He said angrily, "Who are you two? How dare you break into Dragon's Treasure Village and disturb this uncle's fun? You are courting death." He roared. The aura of the 6th level of Spirit Refinement Realm burst out. He picked up a long saber and was ready to kill Yi Tianyin. Yi Tianyin did not move. His eyes flashed with cold light. He swung the Chaotic Heaven Sacred Axe forward. A saber light slashed forward. The bandit didn't react. He was pierced by the saber light. The remaining saber light slashed into the house behind him. Accompanied by a loud bang, the whole house collapsed. After being slashed, the bandit fell to the ground, his blood scattered on the ground. He is dead. Chapter 107. Yi Tianyin's murderous aura shocked everyone. The bandits were scared to death. They have never seen such a terrifying god of slaughter. Just one slash was enough to kill their hall master, easily splitting him into 2 halves. Immediately, Yi Tianyin rushed forward, obviously carrying such a huge axe, but like a gust of wind, he sprinted forward quickly, aiming at the front, just relying on the blade bursting out of the axe blade. It is enough to sweep everything in its path. If one slash can't solve it, then 2 slashes will do. Run! Demon, absolute demon, run away! They are all crazy, running in all directions, but their speed can't outrun Yi Tianyin's attack. With a flash of cold light, they fell to the ground, no longer moving. They turned into experience and crazy point, pouring into Yi Tianyin's brain. In the blink of an eye, the place was filled with the smell of blood. The people who were standing before are already lying down. The remaining few scattered injured lying on the ground. Fortunately, they were not split in half. At this time, someone ran out from one of the collapsed houses. However, it was a woman covered in scars. She ran out from the collapsed house. Her body was wrapped in a sheet. Her face was full of horror and humiliation. When she saw Yi Tianyin and Xiaolian, she suddenly froze. Sister Xiaolian. Menghua? When Lu Minglian saw the woman in front of her, she was stunned on the spot. At this time, suddenly someone grabbed Menghua, strangled her neck and dragged her back. The person who did this was none other than the bandit, who had luckily escaped a fatal blow. Taking advantage of this gap, he quickly grabbed Menghua and placed his bloody palm on her neck. Blood immediately dyed her neck red. Don't come over. If you come over, I will kill her. The bandit's face was pale, holding a short sword in his hand, stuck on Menghua's neck. Don't do anything. Lu Minglian's heart tightened. She reached out to the bandit not to mess around. Don't worry about me. Young hero, hurry up and kill them. Avenge me and the other villagers. Menghua's tears continuously fell. Ever since she had been captured and brought here, she had been continuously humiliated. Her heart had already collapsed. Shut up, bitch. The bandit covered Menghua's mouth, preventing her from speaking. He was worried that Yi Tianyin wouldn't care about Menghua's life and death, and would slash at him. He didn't want to die, so he could only use Menghua as a shield. Menghua was not afraid of the saber against her neck at all. She began to struggle, wanting to break free from the bandit's hand covering her mouth. Menghua! Tears continuously fell from Lu Minglian's eyes. This was her childhood playmate. She didn't think that they had already reached such a stage. She wanted to get closer, but she couldn't. Then, She felt a gust of wind blow past her, and the bandit was sent flying with a bloody hole in his head. Etienne's hand was still in the throwing position. It was obvious that he had thrown another stone. No one can escape, and you won't get hurt. Etienne patted Lu Monglian's shoulder and said, Sister Xiaolian, I'll leave this place to you. I'll take care of the rest. The bandits here have been completely cleaned up. What's left is the bandits in the second half of the mountain, and the leaders are there. When he rushed forward, a strong murderous aura came from a distance, followed by 3 people rushing towards him. Each of them was not weak. The weakest was at 8th or 9th level of Spirit Refinement Realm. The leader was at 2nd level of Core Condensation Realm. He didn't expect that there would be a strong cultivator at Core Condensation Realm in such a small village. It was really unexpected. Who are you? The leader of Dragon's Treasure Stronghold, Long Batian. The 3 people are the 3 leaders of Dragon's Treasure Stronghold. The leader is Long Batian, and the other 2 are Long Hun and Long Quantian, the 3 brothers of Long Clan. Long Batian, cultivation 2nd level of Core Condensation. Weapon is Long Quan Dao, a high-grade spirit tool. Wearing a middle-grade spirit tool armor. Combat power is 18,000. His weakness is his left foot, which was injured before, so it's easy to defeat him. Possible items for killing are Buddha Kill Palm, high-grade human-level martial art. Feng Tian Dao, Long Hun Tian. Cultivation 1st level of Core Condensation. Weapon is Tyrant Tian Dao, a high-grade spirit tool. Wearing a middle-grade spirit tool armor. Combat power is 16,000. His weakness is his chest, so it's easy to defeat him. Possible items for killing are Buddha Kill Palm, Feng Tian Dao, Long Quan Tian. Cultivation 8th level of Spirit Refinement. Weapon is Detailed data is listed. All 3 of them are holding a broadsword, which is a high-grade spirit tool. Their equipment is also not low, which is a middle-grade spirit tool. This made Etienne a little surprised. He thought that in this remote place, there would be at most someone at 7th or 8th level of Spirit Refinement. But now not only there is a Core Condensation cultivator, but there are also many good weapons. This is really unexpected. He didn't expect to be so rich hiding here. Surrounded by a dilapidated mountain village. Where is the money coming from? I'm here to kill you. Etienne turned into a sharp light and rushed out. He doesn't need to use crazy mode at all. Just the attribute bonus of the set is enough to kill them in seconds. Xiao! He carried the giant axe and rushed forward. Under the rapid sprint, there are countless footprints on the ground, all of which were pressed down by the heavy giant axe. Although the giant axe is heavy, its speed is not slow. In the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of them. There is no need to use any martial art at all. Relying solely on the power of the weapon and his own attribute, it is enough to sweep everything in front of him. Retreat! The berserk power frightened the 3 of them. Long Batian hurriedly retreated, but Long Quantian, who had the lowest cultivation base, was too slow. The sweeping giant axe easily chopped him in half at the waist. Long Quantian let out a miserable shriek as he fell to the ground. Even the sturdy armor on his body was unable to withstand the terrifying blade aura, and was cut into 2. Ding! Successfully killed Long Quantian, gained 32,000 EXP, 800 crazy point, got Buddha Kill Palm, Feng Tian Dao. 3rd brother. When the other 2 saw this, they roared. Their guts were about to explode, and their anger immediately surged. You bastard, I'll kill you. Long Hun roared and swung his sky-dominating blade at Etienne fiercely. A violent aura was released from Long Hun's body, and it was as if a tiger had emerged from his body and rushed towards Etienne. Etienne's eyes flashed, and he swung his axe to meet the attack head-on. A cold light flashed, and Dragon Soul Sky's dominating heaven blade was sent flying. When he landed on the ground, both of his arms were smashed to pieces, and there was a deep cut on his body. Chapter 108. 2nd Brother. Long Batian hurriedly ran over, and saw Long Hun Tian on the verge of death. Long Hun Tian's face was pale. Just one strike from Etienne was enough to make him seriously injured. Long Hun Tian's body was twitching, blood was splashing everywhere, and his eyes were turning white. It seems that you have a deep brotherly bond. Did you ever think about other people's sisterly bond or father-son bond when you did your evil deeds? Etienne's expression is cold, especially after seeing the situation of the dream flower. It made his heart even colder. Although he had already expected these things, he still felt extremely disgusted and angry when he saw it. Long Batian gritted his teeth and glared at Etienne, then turned around and ran away, ignoring Long Hun Tian. Want to leave? Etienne carried the chaotic heaven holy axe and chased after Long Hun Tian. Don't even think of running away. From today onwards, Dragon's treasure stronghold will never exist. Long Batian was sweating profusely and shouted, Old ancestor, save me! Old ancestor? Etienne didn't pay any attention to Long Batian. He swung the chaotic heaven holy axe straight at Long Batian. Long Batian felt the danger behind him, so he quickly turned around and waved the dragon spring saber in his hand to block the attack. But how could a high-grade spirit tool deal with a soul tool? The gap is not small. Dang! Under his furious slash, the dragon spring saber was split into two. It was as if he was chopping a piece of bamboo, and he was also chopped into two halves. Long Batian's eyes widened, and he opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something, but no words came out. His eyes widened, and he fell to the ground, filled with unwillingness. Deep in his eyes, he was filled with regret. Ding! Successfully killed Long Batian. Gained 48,000 EXP. 2200 crazy point. Falling cloud armor. Middle grade spirit tool. Killing soul blade. Upper grade spirit tool. Ding! Successfully killed Long Hun Tian. Gained 42,000 EXP. 2100 crazy point. Heaven cloud armor. Middle grade spirit tool. Falling rise blade. Upper grade spirit tool. Quite a lot of items were dropped. Killing a cultivator of this level would definitely require the activation of Crazy Experience mode and the activation of Lucky Halo. These level of weapons and armors don't mean much to him, but he can sell them for crazy points, so he can't waste them. They are worth thousands of crazy points. At the same time, he also collected Long Batian's and the others' items. Apart from the system drops, the items in the real world could also be sold for money, which was double the amount of money. Just as he finished cleaning up the area, the sky suddenly became oppressive, and a black fog shrouded the entire dragon's treasure stronghold. Who are you? At that moment, an old man appeared at the side. He was shrouded in a black fog, seemingly connected to the ground. It was an extremely strange sight. Etienne looked up at him, and detailed data immediately appeared in front of him. Old ancestor He Hun, peak of core condensation stage, controls the underground black dragon spiritual vein, possesses the power of the black dragon. Overall combat power is 210,000. Martial art, black dragon divine art, soul destruction palm. Weakness is the underground black soul dragon vein. Breaking the connection between the black soul dragon vein will reduce his strength by half. Possible drops: black dragon divine art, soul destruction palm, black dragon spiritual vein crystal. Old ancestor He Hun controls the underground black dragon spiritual vein. Dragon's treasure stronghold. No wonder there are so many treasures here, so many experts. It seems like this is to cover up the existence of the black dragon spiritual vein. Etienne looked at the analysis in front of him and immediately understood the ins and outs of the situation. It turns out that this dragon's treasure stronghold is to cover up the existence of the black soul dragon vein. But what is the situation of the black soul dragon vein? If he doesn't know about it, he really doesn't know. I'm just passing by and saw the bandits doing evil here. I'm just enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens. Etienne looked at him. He didn't rush to attack. He just wanted to see what this guy's situation is. Enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens? In this chaotic world, it's enough to survive, but you still want to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens? Old ancestor He Hun's face was full of disdain. He coldly snorted and said, "You're so young, but your cultivation is unfathomable. I presume your background is not small. Seeing that your cultivation is not bad, I will make you my general. I will give you endless glory, splendor, wealth, and rank. Also, I will give you unimaginable cultivation. Let you go one step further." Based on what? Etienne smiled. What proof do you have just based on your mouth? based on the black soul dragon vein under my feet. Old ancestor He Hun didn't hide anything. His dark eyes looked at Yi Shiwen and said, "As long as you become my general, I will let you absorb the black soul dragon vein. It will greatly increase your cultivation speed. It will be several times faster than cultivating outside. When our cultivation reaches a higher level, we will establish our own sect. At that time, no one will dare to provoke us." Old ancestor He Hun's arrogant expression had been eroded by the black soul dragon vein. He felt that having the black soul dragon vein was already invincible. "Then what do you want me to do?" Yi Tianyan asked. "Capture more cultivators. Whether they are mortals or cultivators, I want them all." Old ancestor He Hun said with a sinister smile. "Offer them to the black soul dragon vein. Only in this way, the black dragon force will be continuously produced, greatly increasing our cultivation speed. So this is the reason why you captured so many people. Aren't you afraid of the wrath of the heavens?" Yi Tianyan's eyes were filled with killing intent. He was already a killing maniac. Whether good or bad, old ancestor He Hun wanted to capture them all. "Wrath of the heavens? In this place, I am the heavens, no one can escape from my control." Old ancestor He Hun looked at him coldly. "Make your choice. If you want to become my general, take this pill." He stretched out his palm. A pitch-black pill appeared in the palm of his hand. Yi Tianyan looked at it. Using the appraisal eye, he could clearly see what it was. Black heart pill. After a period of time, after taking it, you will be poisoned. It will be worse than death. It turned out that this was a poison pill. In fact, it was a type of control pill. When poisoned, it will be worse than death. Only by taking the antidote can the poison be alleviated. Once the antidote is removed, you will be dead. Before dying, you will have to suffer a fate worse than death. "What if I refuse?" Yi Tianyan said indifferently. "Do you think I'll let you go after telling you so many secrets? If you refuse, then I don't mind making you a tribute to the black soul dragon vein." Old ancestor He Hun said in a deep voice. As soon as his voice fell, countless black gas emerged from the ground, wrapped around him like a pitch-black cage, tightly surrounding him. There was no way out. He never thought that there would be such a strong expert in this remote and desolate place. There would be a black soul dragon vein. It was really strange. Chapter 109. Yi Tianyan looked at the black mist surrounding him. He can't escape unless he can fly. Otherwise he can't escape from here at all. But he did not panic at all. He lifted the chaotic heaven sacred axe and slashed down at the black fog that was wrapping around him. The crazy saber light slashed forward, and a deep crack appeared on the ground. Then, the surrounding black fog was split into two by this overbearing saber light, and a gap was created. Just because of this, Yi Tianyan looked indifferent and didn't care at all. Old ancestor He Hun's pupils shrank as he looked at the giant axe in Yi Tianyan's hand and said, "Is this a soul tool? So what if I am? So what if I am not?" Yi Tianyan said with a smile. "It seems that you have chosen not to obey me?" Old ancestor He Hun gently stretched out his hand, and the gap was quickly filled. In the blink of an eye, the black energy seemed to be endless and couldn't disappear completely. "What do you think?" Yi Tianyan put away the chaotic heaven sacred axe, and the set effect disappeared instantly, but it was replaced by the frost fist. The cold air immediately froze the ground within 2 meters around him, forming a layer of frost. This soul tool is much stronger than the chaotic heaven sacred axe. But the frost fist doesn't have a set effect. If it had a set effect, it would be even more heaven-defying. Another soul tool. It seems that your background is not simple. But if you think that a soul tool is invincible here, then you are too naive. Old ancestor He Hun waved his hand, and the surrounding black energy turned into countless black dragons. One after another emerged from the ground and became taller. The power suddenly increased a lot. "In that case, I will let you become the sacrifice of the black dragon's spiritual vein." In the next moment, under his control, the black energy quickly turned into several black dragons and rushed toward Yi Tianyan with an extremely oppressive energy. Yi Tianyan's eyes flashed, and he quickly raised his hand. A terrifying suction force instantly swept out from his palm. The black dragon's energy, which had been rushing toward him from all directions, was forcefully turned around by this super strong suction force, turning into a ball and being absorbed into his body. 4,000 experience points. This attack was absorbed into his body and turned into EXP. Under the super strong suction of the absorbing star's great technique, coupled with the Dark North divine art, this power was instantly devoured. If it was before, he wouldn't be able to do this. Only by upgrading it to an Earth-level martial art could he achieve this effect. Is this your power? Tianyan said with a smile. Ancestor Heihun was shocked. Although his attack was not very strong, it was at least half of his strength. But it did not cause any harm to Tianyan, and it seemed that his attack had been absorbed. Looks like you know another evil technique. I want to see how much you can devour. Ancestor Heihun roared. More than a dozen black dragons' energy quickly appeared around him. After twisting in the air, they quickly rushed toward him. In addition, countless black gas emerged from the ground and began to entangle him like a devil's hand from hell. Tianyan's expression was indifferent. He did not care about the entangling black dragon's energy at all. It was as if nothing had happened. Absorbing Star's great technique. Crazy experience mode activate. When the black dragon's energy entangled him, he immediately used the Absorbing Star's great technique. In the blink of an eye, the entangling power was swallowed into his body and turned into a pile of EXP. Plus 16,000 EXP, plus 15,000 EXP, plus 21,000 EXP. With the increase of 4 times, Tianyan suddenly felt refreshed. This was the feeling he needed. It was much faster than killing anyone else. At least for now. In the blink of an eye, the entangling black dragon's energy disappeared and nothing happened to him. Old Ancestor Heihun, who was watching from afar, was dumbfounded. He was shocked by this scene. All the energy that was released was devoured, and it seemed that nothing had happened. This power is too weak. Can it be stronger? It's really not enough to fill the gap between my teeth. Tianyan said sarcastically. This sentence was undoubtedly a provocation to Ancestor Heihun, and instantly angered him. I don't believe that you can devour much. How can the black dragon's energy be so easy to devour? Ancestor Heihun roared and quickly made hand seals. Countless black dragon's energy entangled him. The black cage around him was constantly squeezing him, as if it wanted to flatten him. In the blink of an eye, Tianyan was swallowed by the black dragon's energy. In just a moment, the black light became dimmer and dimmer. There was no doubt that Tianyan was crazily devouring the black dragon's energy. Impossible! Impossible! Ancestor Heihun said angrily. I want to see how much you can devour. He roared and quickly cast the black dragon's energy. More and more black dragon's energy emerged from the ground. The entire dragon's treasure stronghold was shaking. It seems that the excessive mobilization of the energy underground has caused an earthquake. 23,000 experience points, 32,000 experience points, 33,000 experience points. His experience crazily soared and instantly reached the limit. Currently, he can only absorb about 8,000 experience points at a time. But after quadrupling, his experience points have reached 32,000. Under this crazy devouring, his experience points continue to rise. But the speed of devouring is not enough to keep up with the speed of the black dragon's energy. Ancestor Heihun has already used most of his energy, so naturally, he will surpass Tianyan. But this speed of devouring is useless. He is wearing a set of Chaotic Heaven divine armor and Chaotic Heaven battle boots. Coupled with the title of Guardian, his defense is off the charts. This kind of devouring can't hurt him at all. This state continues. Tianyan's expression is indifferent. But in his heart he is very happy. His experience is crazily flowing in. It's much more than killing a 7th or 8th level core condensation cultivator. How can he not feel happy? For a long time, this method has been the best way to obtain experience points. But sometimes there are too many people, so he can't drain their spiritual power one by one. Therefore, when he saw this pile of energy, his eyes lit up. How could he not be happy that there was one more free experience point? Just when he thought that he can maintain this situation for a long time, suddenly a black light flashed behind him and fiercely stabbed his back. Tianyan immediately sensed the danger. He turned around and waved his hand to grab the black light. Dang! Chapter 110. Why don't you continue to release the Black Dragon Force? Tianyan shook his hand. That sword attack was not weak. If it was an ordinary person, he would have been pierced by it. Especially under the Black Dragon Force, he couldn't detect the situation around him. If it wasn't for his strength, he would have been pierced by this sword attack. Die! Old Ancestor Heihun was extremely angry. He once again waved his sword and rushed towards Tianyan. The Black Dragon Force around him drilled into his body. Suddenly his strength skyrocketed. His combat power soared crazily. The reason why he has such strong strength is because of the Black Dragon Force. Ordinary peak core condensation cultivators have 160,000 combat power at most. But Old Ancestor Heihun's combat power has exceeded 200,000. Whether it is speed or strength, both have reached a new peak. Black Dragon Roar. The long sword in Old Ancestor Heihun's hand flashed with a black light. A black dragon mark appeared on the blade of the sword. Immediately, a black dragon mark appeared on his body. Old Ancestor Heihun felt like he turned into a black dragon and rushed towards Tianyan. The world began to tremble, and countless cracks appeared on the hard ground. More Black Dragon Force surged from the cracks and drilled into Old Ancestor Heihun's body layer by layer. Tianyan's eyes flashed. With the appraisal eye, Old Ancestor Heihun's combat power continued to rise. It has reached a high of 210,000. Strong. Very strong. Compared to all the previous opponents, he is several levels stronger. Tianyan didn't expect that the Black Dragon spiritual vein could strengthen him so much. This is not the level that ordinary peak core condensation cultivators can achieve. It is equivalent to the level of spirit core stage. Of course, no matter how strong he is, it is just a piece of cake for Tianyan. Frost Fist activate. He used the special effect of the Frost Fist, and a terrifying frost domain exploded in the surroundings. The crazy cold air swept in all directions, and everywhere it went was frozen, including the surging Black Dragon power. It was frozen by this overbearing effect. The originally swaying energy had been frozen into a popsicle. Old Ancestor Heihun, who was rushing over, was frozen by this special effect. His whole body was frozen in place, and the power coming out of his body was also frozen on the surface. This was a heaven-defying effect. Even after the Frost Fist had been upgraded to a soul tool, it could still freeze Ancestor Black Soul. He might not be able to freeze it for too long, but even if he could only freeze it for 10 seconds, Old Ancestor Black Soul would definitely die. Not bad, you can freeze it. Tianyan smiled faintly and walked over. Old Ancestor Black Soul's expression was frozen, and he could only watch as Tianyan walked over, and he couldn't even say a word. He walked in front of Patriarch Heihun, grabbed his arm, and slammed him to the ground. With a loud bang, Patriarch Heihun was slammed to the ground. Dense cracks appeared on the ground, spreading out like a spider web. After locking Old Ancestor Black Soul, Tianyan fully activated Absorbing Star's great technique. Tens of thousands of XP crazily poured into his body. This time, he can finally absorb it slowly, and he wants to see how long he can absorb it. If he can maintain this state, after absorbing it, he will level up several times, and that would be perfect. However, after maintaining this state for half a minute, Old Ancestor Black Soul began to loosen. Die, damn brat! I will kill you! Old Ancestor Black Soul roared, and the power of the black dragon inside his body broke out, and he wanted to shake Tianyan away. It was a humiliation to be pressed like this. Dragon God Bloodline open. After the Dragon God Bloodline broke out, dragon scales quickly appeared on his body, and his strength was greatly increased, at least several times stronger than usual, and his combat power suddenly broke out. After the increase in strength, the power that broke out from his arms fiercely pressed down on Old Ancestor Black Soul, making him unable to move at all. After suppressing him, he continued to quickly absorb the spiritual power inside Old Ancestor Black Soul's body, and quickly withdrew it. Bastard, let go of me, let go of me! Old Ancestor Black Soul's body shook, but how could he compare with Tianyan's strength? His combat power was not weak, but it did not mean that he was strong. Most of his strength relied on the power of the black dragon. And when he controlled the power of the black dragon, he was more overbearing. Why should I let go of you, and then wait for you to kill me? Do you think I am stupid? Tianyan sneered. You have done a lot of evil things, this time I will suck you dry. Get out of my way. Old Ancestor Black Soul roared angrily, and madly controlled the power of the black dragon underground, and continued to envelop Tianyan. But this devouring power could not hurt Tianyan. Originally, after the dragon god bloodline broke out, his defensive power had greatly increased, and with the addition of the guardian title and the chaotic heaven divine armor, he was simply indestructible. No matter how hard the power of the black dragon gnawed, it could not bite even a little bit. As Tianyan absorbed more and more power, Old Ancestor Black Soul became weaker and weaker, and was about to be sucked dry. Let go of me, give me. Old Ancestor Black Soul had no strength to struggle, and after a moment, the spiritual power in his body was completely sucked dry. What's going on? No spiritual power? Don't you have the blessing of the black dragon spiritual vein? Why is your spiritual power so weak? At this time, Tianyan found that Old Ancestor Black Soul's body was black. It seems that he was overdrawn, and even his body was eroded by the power of the black dragon. Sure enough, using this power indiscriminately will cause a lot of damage to himself. This is obviously a kind of evil technique. Old Ancestor Black Soul couldn't hear Tianyan's words. After being sucked dry, he already fainted. In addition, he can't suppress the power of the black dragon. His body has been quickly eroded, and it seems that his consciousness is gradually disappearing. It seems that I can't do it anymore. In the next life, remember to be a good person to repay all this. Tianyan aimed at Old Ancestor Heihun's head and punched him hard. With a loud bang, Old Ancestor Heihun was completely killed. Ding! Successfully killed Old Ancestor Black Soul. Gained 120,000 EXP, 3000 crazy point. Obtain Black Dragon Divine Secret Art. Low-grade Earth Level Martial Art. Soul Destruction Palm. Low-grade Earth Level Martial Art. Black Dragon Spiritual Vein Crystal. Black Dragon Skeleton. After killing Old Ancestor Black Soul, the things that dropped are quite rich. 2 Earth Level Martial Art can be used to fuse proficiency. But the most special is the last 2, which made him feel a bit strange. Black Dragon Spiritual Vein Crystal. Black Dragon Skeleton. What are these? After Tianyan checked, the information immediately appeared. Black Dragon Spiritual Vein Crystal. The energy crystal of the black dragon can be absorbed for cultivation, suitable for cultivators who cultivate dark attribute. Black Dragon Skeleton. The skeleton of the black dragon, the main backbone of the black dragon, with blessing of the black dragon soul and black dragon spiritual vein, can summon the black dragon. What can summon the black dragon? Chapter 111. If I can summon a black dragon as a pet, can I fly? Tianyan's eyes lit up. If he wanted to fly, he would need to reach the core transformation stage, which was a relatively long process. Only when he reached the core transformation stage, he would be able to fly. Therefore, it was undoubtedly a wonderful thing to have a flying demon beast. At least, it would be very convenient for him to escape and travel. But where can I get the soul of the black dragon? Tianyan frowned. He remembered that when he investigated Ancestor Heihun's situation, he saw that the soul of the black dragon would drop, but he didn't expect it to drop even after activating his luck aura. It was really a pity. If my luck is good enough, or if my luck aura is upgraded, I will definitely be able to get it. But now Ancestor Heihun is dead. Tianyan shook his head and felt very disappointed. If he missed this opportunity, how could he get the soul of the black dragon back? Who would be able to get the soul of the black dragon? Immediately, he didn't think too much about it. He took out all of Ancestor Heihun's items and put them into his inventory. There were many valuable things inside. Even if he couldn't fuse them to increase his proficiency, he could at least sell them for money. Ancestor Heihun is dead. Ancestor Heihun is dead. Great, Ancestor Heihun is dead. At this time, someone shouted, which attracted Tianyan's attention. He looked up and saw some bandits on the side. They were shocked. and some even collapsed on the ground. Everyone had a different expression. It seems that there are still some fish that escaped the net. I have to clean them up. Etienne squinted his eyes and rushed towards them. He waved his fist and greeted them with a cold air. As long as he punched them, they would be killed instantly. Bang! At this time, they all knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Hero, thank you for killing Ancestor He Hun and saving us. Hero, please let us go. We were forced to join the dragon's treasure stronghold. If we don't join, our families will be killed. We're just following instructions, and we've been working here all this time. We've never gone out to harm anyone. Those are all in the outer strongholds, and those in the inner strongholds are specialized in internal affairs. We can't go out. They kept kowtowing to Etienne until their foreheads started to bleed. In order to survive, they were willing to do anything. Etienne stopped and squinted at them. This kind of thing was not rare. After all, there were so many people in the village, so it was impossible for all of them to be internal members. Some of them must have been recruited from outside. For example, cooking, cleaning, and so on were definitely not done by the internal staff. They had to be recruited from outside, and they had to be dragged in by force. Whether you've done anything wrong or not, everything will be judged. If you act blindly without thinking, then don't blame me for being ruthless. At that time, will you run faster? Or will my fists be faster? Etienne signaled them to gather together. He gathered all the remaining bandits and brought them outside. Outside, Lu Minglian had already rescued everyone. When she saw Etienne coming over with a group of people, her complexion suddenly changed. Young master, this is... Lu Minglian looked at the group of people behind him, and was somewhat puzzled. I don't know how many of them were brought in by force. I believe some of them had no choice. So please take a look and see who can be forgiven and who can't. Etienne said to the trapped villagers. He's from our village. In order to protect us, he chose to join us. He was forced to join us. He's my husband. He was brought in by force. He's been cooking for us. He's with those bad guys. At this time, someone immediately recognized that someone had sneaked in. That person's complexion turned pale. He turned around and wanted to grab the person next to him to use as a shield. But Etienne's speed was faster. With a kick, he flew out and smashed into a distant house. There was no more movement from him. Continue. Of course, you can recognize each other and see who did what wrong. Etienne said indifferently. He's innocent. He was captured and brought in here. They all pointed out that there were a few people who tried to fish in troubled waters. After being recognized, they ran away or knelt down and begged for mercy. But Etienne didn't let them go, because under the accusation, they have done too many evil things. Not just once or twice, but many times. After the cleanup, the entire dragon's treasure village is truly destroyed. All the bandits have been cleaned up. Even if there are some who happen to be outside, they can't do anything anymore. After the death of the 3 leaders and old ancestor He Hun, the dragon's treasure village has no one to rely on. Successfully completed Destroy Dragon's Treasure Village quest. Reward: 150,000 EXP 10,000 Crazy Point, 100 Prestige Point. The quest information that popped up proved that he has completed the quest perfectly. Lu Minglian said to Etienne, Young master, let's go back. Well, you go back first. I want to look for something here. Etienne didn't rush back. He signaled them to go back first. Lu Minglian didn't ask anything. She just nodded and said, Then I will wait for young master to come back in Gong Village. Young master, please be careful. After they all left, Etienne's attention returned to the dragon's treasure village. He didn't rush to leave naturally. He wants to explore the underground black dragon spiritual vein. He wants to see what kind of spiritual vein it is. Immediately, he came to the center of the dragon's treasure village. There is a luxurious house here. No doubt it is the place where old ancestor He Hun and the others live. After entering, the house has been ransacked. There is nothing valuable left. This is the order given by Etienne. He let the other villagers move away the valuable things. During this time, he sensed that there is an unknown power under the ground. He just happened to see the passage that leads to the underground from the house. But because he has other things to deal with, he didn't care about it for the time being. After they all left, Etianyan returned to the place and walked down the stairs to the underground. The more he went down, the more he felt an oppressive power surging towards him. This power is very familiar. It is the power of the black dragon. It came from the underground. Soon, he reached the underground. There is a huge stone door blocking the way. He pulled the door next to it, and it slowly opened. When the door opened, the power of the black dragon spread out and wrapped around his body. There is a kind of evil power that wants to drag him in. Chapter 112. After the stone door was completely opened, a pitch-black passage came into view. There were a few lights flashing in the passage, but they were also flashing with black light. After he walked in, he immediately heard a tempting voice in his ears. Do you want great power? Do you want to become stronger? Do you want to be above everything? If you want great power, come over and accept me. I will give you the strongest power. This kind of demonic voice was really tempting, especially the power that came from the surroundings. It was a kind of incomparably powerful power, which really made people yearn for it. On the surrounding rock wall, there were black lines like black crystals inlaid on it, which looked very beautiful. However, this beauty was filled with a strange energy. Etianyan just took a glance and continued to walk in. When he went deeper, he felt that the power of the black dragon was exactly the same as the power displayed by old ancestor He Hun. When he walked to the end, he saw a dragon's head. However, this dragon's head had turned into a skeleton, but on the surface, it was still a dragon's head. It was surrounded by the power of the black dragon, which was enough to show that this black dragon's cultivation was not simple when it was alive. Etianyan looked up, and the detailed information immediately appeared. Black dragon's head cultivation. None weakness, none. If killed, it is possible to obtain the black dragon's soul, the black dragon's skeleton, and the black dragon's spiritual vein crystal. The black dragon's soul. Etianyan's eyes lit up. Sure enough, he found it. If he could blow up this black dragon's head, then he would have a chance to obtain the black dragon's soul. Human, do you desire great power? The light inside the black dragon's head flickered. Although the head did not open its mouth to speak, it could still transmit a voice. Of course I desire it. Isn't that obvious? Etianyan was not in a hurry to blow up the black dragon's head. He planned to chat with it first. Very good. As long as you accept my fusion, you will be able to obtain great power. The black light flickered and continued. I can already feel your power. You are very powerful. If you can fuse with me, you will become even more powerful. At that time, no one will be a match for you. You will be above everyone. What about that old ancestor black soul from before? Etianyan said with a faint smile. Didn't he fuse with you? I don't think he's that strong. That trash is too weak. He can't withstand my power, which is why he's so weak. As long as you are strong enough, you will be able to control my power. The black light flickered as the voice continued. Is that so? What are the conditions to obtain this power? Asked Etianyan. I don't need any conditions. As long as you fuse with me and keep offering sacrifices to me, I can make you stronger. Black light continued. Keep offering sacrifices. What will happen to me if I fuse with you? Etianyan continued to ask. There will be no effect. You will only become stronger and stronger than everyone. Reaching the spirit core stage will not be difficult. Reaching the core transformation stage will not be out of reach. The black light constantly tempted him, throwing out an even higher cultivation. This king is the legendary Black Dragon King. The power I possess is incomparably great. As long as you fuse with me, you will obtain even more martial arts and even greater power. Sounds good. Etianyan walked over and approached the black dragon's head and asked, What should I do? You don't need to do anything. Relax your body, and let my energy penetrate into your body. Just fuse with you. Black light flickered and seemed to be excited. This sounds good. Etianyan grinned. Then fuse with me. Then he reached out and grabbed the black dragon's head. The absorbing star's great technique was fully activated, and began to madly extract its energy. Ah! What are you doing? Black light flickered fiercely and screams were constantly heard. Nothing. Didn't you say that you want me to fuse with you? As long as I absorb you, we will be one. Tianyan laughed. No, not like this. You want my energy to penetrate into your body. Black light flickered incessantly, and the area began to tremble. The earth was shaking, and the mountains were shaking, as if it was going to collapse at any time. Really? But I prefer to fuse like this. Tianyan sneered. As the energy was continuously absorbed, the surrounding power of the black dragon began to gradually fade. But under this crazy devouring, it quickly aroused the resistance of the black light. Countless black energy quickly emerged from the surroundings and tried to bind Tianyan and drag him away. But Tianyan was not so easy to be dragged away. His dragon god blood instantly erupted. Thick dragon scales appeared on his body, and his strength increased crazily. When the power of the black dragon swept over, not only did it not devour him, but it was also absorbed by the absorbing star's great technique. The double superposition of Dark North divine art and absorbing star's great technique is not so simple. His whole body can devour energy crazily, so he doesn't necessarily need to use both hands. After the crazy devouring, Tianyan's XP soared crazily, and finally after a period of absorption, he ushered in a breakthrough. Ding! Congratulations to player Tianyan. Successfully upgraded to the peak of core condensation. Finally upgraded to the peak of core condensation, ready to break through to the spirit core stage. Tianyan breathed a sigh of relief. He just absorbed so much EXP from old ancestor He Hun and killed him, and even completed the task, but he did not level up. In the later stage, even with so much EXP, he still can't level up quickly, unless he has 10 times EXP card in hand. Otherwise it will be really difficult to level up. Although compared to others, he is already close to exploding. But who doesn't want to be too strong? Bastard human! Hurry up and let go of me. This black light, or should be said to be the Black Dragon King. It is angry, constantly controlling the surrounding energy to roll over. But the more energy rolled over, the more the surrounding black crystals become dim. As long as it uses energy, the surrounding crystals will become dim, which is equivalent to consumption. Plus now Tianyan is devouring crazily. The situation is getting worse and worse. Tianyan turned a deaf ear to it. He has been devouring crazily. How can he miss this kind of experience? The Black Dragon King from the beginning to the end. It can't release much energy. The flickering light is getting weaker and weaker. It seems to be dying. Human. You win, please let me go. I know a lot of martial arts, I will teach you. The Black Dragon King began to beg for mercy. It only has the last bit of soul left. If it is gone, it will really die. Chapter 113. The Black Dragon King's energy was getting weaker and weaker. The surrounding Black Dragon power was also getting weaker and weaker. Even the sound of begging for mercy was getting weaker and weaker. I beg you, human, please let me go. Don't continue to devour me. If this continues, I will definitely die. I know a lot of secrets. I know a lot of treasures. As long as you let me go, I will tell you everything. The Black Dragon King constantly begged for mercy, begging Tianyan to let him go. Unfortunately, I am not interested in any of this. You want to fuse with me, nothing more than to devour me. Do you think I don't know the situation of old ancestor He Hun? It seems that his body has already been devoured. You just want to use us to give you more energy, to become your puppet, and continue to offer sacrifices. One day, you will definitely be resurrected, as for when I don't know. Tianyan had already seen through its tricks. He believed that old ancestor He Hun was also aware of it. But old ancestor He Hun didn't resist, and instead continued to cultivate. Because in addition to this method, other methods to enhance his cultivation were too slow. It was impossible for him to break through. So old ancestor He Hun had no choice but to continue to cultivate. The Black Dragon King used their bodies to seize their bodies. This was impossible. The process was extremely difficult and risky. He could only rely on devouring sacrifices to constantly enhance his own energy. And then he would be able to be reborn. Legend has it that once he reached the Saint King stage, he would be able to regenerate his body. For this reason he has been desperately cultivating. devouring sacrifices to cultivate. This was a very ruthless thing. No one knew how many sacrifices he would need to devour to reach the Saint King stage. It was possible that he would not be able to break through to the Saint King stage, even if he devoured the sacrifices. Whether or not he could reach the Saint King stage, the Black Dragon King didn't care. He could only continue to fight. No matter how many people died, he didn't care. I don't need you to do this. I just need you to let me go. The Black Dragon King whispered for mercy. No, you killed so many people. It's time to pay the price. Tianyan snorted coldly. Feeling that it was enough, he pinched the Black Dragon King fiercely. I curse you to never be reincarnated. With a scream, the Black Dragon's skull was crushed by Tianyan, including the black light inside. Ding! Successfully killed Black Dragon King's soul, rewarding 10,000 EXP 5,000 crazy point. He has obtained the Black Dragon's soul and the Black Dragon's spirit vein crystal. After killing it, he successfully obtained the Black Dragon's soul and an additional Black Dragon spirit vein crystal. At this time, the Black Dragon power in the surroundings had completely disappeared, returning to its original color. The Black Dragon King had extended its power to cover the entire dragon's treasure stronghold, so that it could devour others. However, it did not devour them all at once. Instead, it used them as nourishment, devouring them bit by bit instead of devouring them all at once. Only then would he be able to increase his strength bit by bit. Who knew that it would be sucked dry by Tianyan? First, old ancestor He Hun absorbed a lot of the Black Dragon's power, causing it to disappear in a short time. Not bad, the Black Dragon's soul dropped. Tianyan's eyes lit up. Finally, the Black Dragon's soul dropped this time. If he couldn't even get this, then it would be really bad. Rumble! At this time, the surrounding began to tremble, which made Tianyan's eyebrows raised. His figure flashed and ran to the surface. When he just ran outside, the underground passage began to collapse. The entire dragon's treasure stronghold collapsed in a blink of an eye, as if it was hit by an earthquake. I almost couldn't escape. Tianyan wiped his sweat. If he was any slower, he would be buried under the ground. After calming down, he took out the Black Dragon's soul, Black Dragon's spirit vein crystal, and the Black Dragon's skeleton. When he gathered them together, the option to fuse them appeared. He did not hesitate to click on the fusion button, and immediately the three things quickly fused together. After a moment, a black light soared into the sky, and when the black light gradually disappeared, what appeared in front of him was a black dragon more than 3 meters high. Its whole body was covered with black scales, huge wings on its back, sharp dragon claws, and a huge dragon head. All these prove that it is a real black dragon, not just a skeleton. Black dragon. Cultivation level 1 core condensation. The scales on its body are comparable to a low-grade soul tool, indestructible. The claws are comparable to a low-grade soul tool, indestructible. Potential level 5. As the cultivation gets stronger, the body will become bigger and bigger, and the flame it spits out is enough to melt everything. So strong. Tianyan's eyes lit up, especially the potential of the level 5. One must know that the Snow Wolf's potential is only level 2. According to the rules here, the potential is level 10. But reaching the level 10 potential, what kind of monster is that? The Black Dragon is a dragon, but it only has level 5 potential. The higher the potential, the higher the growth value, whether it is strength or speed. When the cultivation level increases, there will be a significant enhancement. In fact, it is defined as talent. The stronger the talent, the stronger the power. Roar. The black dragon roared at him, then leaned over and rubbed its huge dragon head on his body, showing its intimacy. This black dragon is not the previous Black Dragon King. The two have nothing to do with each other. It is a newly summoned pet. Okay, from now on, you are my pet. Hang with me, I guarantee you will have a good life. Tianyan smiled, reached out and stroked its body, then immediately sat on it, and gently patted its body. The black dragon roared. It seems to be expressing its willingness. Tianyan smiled, feeling very satisfied. Another powerful pet. As long as it is cultivated, it will become a big helper. He now lacks this, the more helpers the better, so his strength will be stronger. Immediately, he began to sort out the spoils of war. He obtained a lot of Earth-level martial arts, temporarily sold all the things, turned into a pile of crazy points. Originally, he wanted to integrate it, but he felt that the Dark North Divine Art has reached intermediate Earth level. It is not necessary for the time being. At least it is enough for now. After selling the Black Dragon Divine Art, he opened the property bar. Everything appeared in front of him. Player, Etienne level 30, 10th level core condensation, EXP, crazy point, 138728 prestige, 230 cultivation technique, Dark North Divine Art, Dragon God Secret Art, Xiantian Divine Art Martial Arts, Absorbing Stars Great Technique, Blood Fiend Soaring Heaven Weapon, Frost Fist, Blood Fiend Divine Spear, Sword of Endlessness Chaotic Heaven Sacred Axe Armor, Snow Wolf Battle Boots, Divine Armor, Shadow Cloak, Chaotic Heaven Divine Armor, Chaotic Heaven Battle Boots Divine Ability, Crazy Mode, Luck Aura Bloodline, Dragon God Bloodline Decoration, Forging God Hammer, Power Bracelet, Power Ring, Power Belt Blood Fiend Bracelet all items, 18 Recovery Medicinal Pill, 5 Double EXP Pill, Gift Pack LV31, Life X1, Bad Luck Divine Pill Treasure, Purple Fire Divine Furnace Title Guardian Flame, Immortal Fire. When he saw the experience required for the next level, he took a deep breath. 5 million, how long will it take to reach it? Forget it. I can only take it step by step. Let's go back. It's not good to let Sister Xiaolian wait for a long time. Etienne nodded, sat on the black dragon and said, let's go back. Chapter 114. With the astonishing speed of the black dragon, he arrived near the Gong village in the blink of an eye. Then he landed and put away the black dragon. This black dragon must not be seen by others. Otherwise it would be a very troublesome matter. Scaring them was not a big deal, but if it was spread out, then he would be in great trouble. The black dragon was a kind of dragon race. Every part of its body was a treasure, and the third-grade forces would soon be eyeing this black dragon. At that time, it was not impossible for them to forcibly seize this black dragon, so he had to be careful. Moreover, if he kept it, just like the snow wolf, he could use it as a trump card and suddenly summon it for a sneak attack. This was a big killer move. After adjusting his state of mind, Etienne walked into the Gong village. The Gong village was now in a festive mood, but with joy comes sorrow. Some people were captured and never came back. Without a doubt they were dead. For bandits, these people's lives were simply not lives. They could be slaughtered at will, abused at will, and finally, after they died, their corpses were disposed of. His vicious and merciless methods were mostly to serve as a warning to the others, so that the others who were captured would know whose orders they should obey. Young Hero E is back. When Etienne just entered the village entrance, people immediately noticed him and came over with tears of gratitude. Some people even knelt down and kowtowed to Etienne, which made Etienne hurriedly signal them to get up, but they did not listen and kowtowed to him. Young Hero E, don't stop us. If not for you, we would have died in that dragon's treasure stronghold. We don't have anything to give you, so we can only ask you to accept our kowtow. We can only give you so much gratitude. That's right, so in any case, please accept our kowtow. If you don't accept our kowtow, then you are looking down on us. The whole village knelt down. Even Lu Menglian knelt down. There was no other meaning. This was her hometown. Etienne had saved the entire village, which was equivalent to saving her. So she also knelt down to worship him. Young master, please accept our kowtow. We have nothing to give you. We can only give you this insignificant kowtow to express our gratitude. Lu Menglian said. Etienne felt helpless and could only accept this bow, since they had already said so. If he didn't let them bow, he would really be looking down on them. After bowing, they all stood up, still filled with endless gratitude. They would never forget this kindness. In their most desperate moment, Etienne appeared and saved them. Naturally, he was like a second parent to them. The rest of the village was in a state of celebration. They had obtained a lot of valuable things from the dragon's treasure stronghold, which made their situation slightly better. Therefore, they were able to celebrate. He slaughtered all the remaining rice, noodles, chickens, and ducks at home, and made a sumptuous meal. Tianyan felt the atmosphere and smiled as well. He threw himself into the party. Happy times were always short. After the party was over, it was time to leave. Tianyan helped Lu Munglian's father to heal his leg injury. He was able to get out of bed and walk. There was nothing else for him to do. It was impossible for them to move out. They relied on the mountains to survive. They had always been farming. Therefore, Tianyan did not try to persuade them to leave. The dragon's treasure stronghold had been destroyed. This place was undoubtedly safe. Whether there would be other bandits in the future, it was unknown. However, he had passed down basic mortal-level martial arts to some talented youngsters. Their future achievements would depend on themselves. Shaolian, young master, he is a good person. He has already reached the standard of becoming my son-in-law. Old Lu was very satisfied with Tianyan, but he also felt that his daughter was a good match for him. Father, don't talk nonsense. How can I be a good match for young master? When Lu Munglian said these words, the light in her beautiful eyes slightly dimmed. She was a bit disappointed. There is no such thing as a good match. Is my daughter not a good match for him? Old Lu smiled and said, Shaolian, it is already a great honor for us to have you join Jade Palace. Cultivate hard. There is no one who is not a good match for you. Lu Munglian's eyes were red. She knew that her father was encouraging her to work hard and not be too discouraged. Father, I will work hard. Lu Munglian nodded firmly. Well, you are becoming more and more like your mother. If only your mother was still here. She would be able to see our daughter become successful. She would be able to stand on her own. Old Lu's eyes were also red. Father. After the father and daughter had a good talk, they were reluctant to part. Young master, let's go. Lu Munglian came over. Her face was full of smile, like a beautiful crabapple, blooming so beautiful. Sister Shaolian, you seem to be in a good mood. Tianyan smiled. Of course it's good. Of course I'm in a good mood now that one of my worries has been resolved. Lu Munglian said with a smile. Is that so? Tianyan touched his nose. This is indeed a big deal. Then let's go to Wind City now. We need to buy a batch of materials. Lu Munglian looked at Tianyan's back, and her beautiful eyes were a little bit more brilliant. After a while, they arrived at Tianfeng City. Tianyan came here to earn Crazy Point. He has no other thoughts. He has a lot of Crazy Point now, but for him, it's still too little. There are too many divine skills that need to be upgraded. He can use up 100 million Crazy Point in an instant. Returning to Rain Pavilion, the familiar scene reminded him of the situation some time ago. The opposite Wind Pavilion is gone. It has been replaced by Rain Pavilion. The whole building was bought by the Heavenly Rain Building. Everything had changed so quickly. The forces that were originally hostile to them had already been destroyed. When Tianyan stepped into the Heavenly Rain Building, some of the guards recognized him, and they were stunned, and their eyes were glued to Tianyan. Tianyan. After a while they recovered. One of them hurriedly ran upstairs to find someone. There is no doubt that the person they found is Ziyue. Ziyue hurriedly ran down from the upstairs. Her face was full of panic, and when she saw Tianyan, her eyes were quickly filled with a complex look. Recalling the little things that happened before, everything changed too fast. The most important thing is that she didn't protect Tianyan. Now when they meet again, she always feels embarrassed and guilty. Pavilion Master Z, long time no see. Tianyan smiled. He didn't feel embarrassed. He waved and said hello. He knew Ziyue's difficulties at the time. She didn't have much power to intervene in that kind of thing. But in the end, she can remind him to escape. It's already the best she can do. She can't run with him, right? So he won't blame Ziyue. But one thing is certain. There will not be a deep relationship with Rain Pavilion. It will only be a cooperative relationship. Since she didn't stand up to help him, it can only be a cooperative relationship. At that time, he can already forge high-grade spirit tools. It shocked the entire Rain Pavilion. But Rain Pavilion didn't choose to protect him. It proves that for them, it's not worth it. Chapter 115. Because Ziyue and Yi Tianyan have a good relationship, so the headquarters of Rain Pavilion will certainly let Ziyue continue to maintain her position as pavilion master, or even give her more power, so that she can fully assist Yi Tianyan. But this is meaningless. Yi Tianyan's strength has reached the point where he can suppress Wind Pavilion. He doesn't need Wind Pavilion's help at all. Helping him now is just icing on the cake, not sending charcoal in snowy weather. The meaning is completely different. Igongzi, you're here. Ziyue doesn't know what to say. She thought Yi Tianyan will never come again. Well, I came here to buy some materials. I don't know if there is a discount. Yi Tianyan smiled. Yes, there is. There must be a discount, even free. Ziyue quickly replied. That's not necessary. Just sell it to me at the normal price. Yi Tianyan smiled faintly and followed Ziyue to buy refining materials. After looking around, he asked, there is no material for refining soul tool here. Soul tool material? Her beautiful eyes widened. The elder behind her also widened his eyes. This is a bit unbelievable. Asking this question, it is very likely that Yi Tianyan is already able to refine soul tools. How old is he? Has already reached this level? Yes, I don't know if there is. Yi Tianyan asked. There is no. Wind Pavilion doesn't have this kind of material. But if you want, you can go outside to buy it, but it will take a long time. Ziyue slowly said. To be able to refine a soul tool, at least a 5th level blacksmith. But the success rate is too low. Basically only a blacksmith master can refine a soul tool. Wind Pavilion doesn't have a blacksmith master, so soul tool material is useless. It is already very good to have a blacksmith who can refine a spirit tool, let alone a blacksmith master. That's the level of a 3rd level force or above. Alright then, I'll just buy some materials. Yi Tianyan had no choice but to give up. This was the level of this region. It wasn't rich in resources. Only regions with 3rd rank forces and above would be more developed. Sects were not established randomly, but according to the surrounding environment. The good places had already been occupied by powerful forces. It was simply not their turn to occupy them. After that, Yi Tianyan chose some materials. They were all materials that could be used to refine supreme-grade spiritual weapons. This was already very shocking. Take them all out. I want as much as you have. Yi Tianyan said in a rich and overbearing manner. Okay, no problem. Ziyue immediately sent someone to fetch the materials. After taking stock, Yi Tianyan felt somewhat disappointed. There weren't many of them. Only 20 to 30 of them could be made. It's not that Wind Pavilion doesn't have enough resources. It's just that they don't have a lot of resources. Materials that can be used to refine spirit tools are relatively rare in this area. That's it? Yi Tianyan asked. Yes, that's it for the time being. But we can transfer it from the headquarters. Ziyue hurriedly added. Well, that's fine. No matter how many you have, bring it to me, including medicinal pellets. The higher the grade, the more I want. However, I might not have enough money, but I can refine a batch of goods for you. You have to give me 2 sets of materials to refine a weapon. How about that? Yi Tianyan said. This includes supreme-grade spiritual weapons and 4th-grade medicinal pellets. Do you want to do this business? Hearing this news, they were all shocked, and their hearts were rolling like a storm. This business is really a good deal. It's equivalent to 3 parts of materials, is equivalent to a supreme-grade weapon. For them, this is already very attractive. Some people who can refine supreme-grade spiritual weapons need to fail more than 4 or 5 times. But he only needs 2 parts of materials as payment. It's really a good deal. The same is true for medicinal pellets. Needless to say, the quality of 4th-grade medicinal pellets need at least a 4th-grade alchemist to be able to refine them. So the payment is quite cost-effective. No problem. Ziyue nodded and said, well, if that's the case, I will temporarily purchase this batch of materials. You can transport the rest to Jade Palace for me to refine. And when I'm done, you can send someone to pick up the goods. Yi Tianyan said indifferently. How many do you have? I don't reject anyone. With the money he has now, he can only temporarily buy this batch of materials. And this is the only batch of materials he has. If he wants to refine more in the future, there is no doubt that he won't be able to afford it. After all, this time he didn't choose to sell the weapons, but chose to exchange them for Crazy Point. That's fine. Young Master E can keep this batch of materials first. We will send them to you when we return. Ziyue was very excited. This business is quite big. It means that they can have a lot of supreme-grade spiritual weapons and fourth-grade medicinal pellets in the future. These are quite valuable things. How can she not be excited? Well, that's about it. This is the payment for you. Tianyan said and waved his hand. Piles of gold piled up here. It looks very dazzling. These are all dropped from killing monsters. He has never used them. Originally he planned to exchange them for Crazy Point. After looking at the ratio, it's not worth it at all. 100 gold taels to get 1 Crazy Point. This thing is really worthless. After Ziyue and the others accepted, it's time for Tianyan to leave. At this time Ziyue wanted to say something, but she didn't say it. She can only sigh deeply. He left so quickly, he didn't stay at all. How can he build a good relationship? But she didn't say a word. She didn't say a word. Master E, please wait. At this time, the elder next to him shamelessly stopped him. What's the matter? Tianyan looked at him and said, last time, our Heavenly Rain building did not do a good job. In fact, we all wanted to help, but Heavenly Rain building's foundation is relatively weak, so please forgive us. This elder was actually the one who had tried to dissuade Ziyue earlier, telling her not to say anything, let alone help. In the end, Ziyue said something. He glared at her fiercely, blaming her for doing so. Now it seems that she is the stupid one. Oh, so you are talking about that matter. I don't care. Tianyan really doesn't care. He smiled casually and said, if there is nothing else, then I will leave first. About the position of guest elder. The elder hurriedly asked. Guest elder? I promised to be your guest elder before. And now I am still a guest elder. Tianyan smiled. The elder was happy, but immediately added, but I don't think I will have time to come here in the future. I am a guest elder. I am sorry about this. After saying that, he smiled at Ziyue, turned around and left, not staying even a step. The elder's face paled. This is almost like a disguised refusal to become a guest elder. He won't come in the future. What is the point of being a guest elder? Pavilion Master Z, hurry up and persuade him. Aren't you on good terms with him? The elder was very anxious. Elder, he has already given me enough face by coming here to buy things again. Do you really think that Heavenly Rain building is the only place in such a big place? Sometimes a missed opportunity is a missed opportunity. No matter what you do, there is no way to make up for it. Ziyue sighed deeply. This is why she did not let Tianyan stay. Coming here to buy things was already giving him enough face. Otherwise he would not have stepped half a step in. The elder's intestines were green with regret. Weak foundation is bullshit. If it really protected Tianyan, there was no problem. Not to mention anything else. At least it could protect him temporarily. But at that time, they immediately cut all ties, not providing any protection at all. Is this the treatment of a guest elder? Chapter 116. Tianyan and Lu Minglian quickly returned to Jade Palace. There was no problem during the whole process. In this area, Tianyan's side is already the biggest force. Even second-level faction doesn't dare to provoke them easily. 3 major forces have been destroyed, and even uprooted. So far, no second-level faction has this kind of ability. Therefore, in a sense, although Jade Palace is not a second-level faction, but it has surpassed most second-level faction, and become close to the existence of third-level faction. But this is just close. The power of third-level faction is far from comparable to second-level faction. Any random grade 3 force could easily crush a grade 2 force without the slightest pressure. Because to become a third-level faction, at least 3 or more Spirit Core Realm powerhouses, and more than 10 Core Condensation Realm powerhouses, are needed to meet the requirements of third-level faction. This is just the initial requirement. Of course, the number of powerful third-level faction is far more than this number. Even core transformation realm cultivators are possible. If you want to become a 4th level faction, the requirements are even more terrifying. But they have never been in this area, so they don't have any information. Next is to complete the main quest. With so many medicinal pills, I don't believe that I can't create a 2nd level faction. Etienne's eyes flashed. 3rd level faction is too difficult. But 2nd level faction is not a problem for him. Young master, we are about to return to Jade Palace, Lu Minglian said with a smile. Etienne nodded. After a while, they returned to Jade Palace, but they didn't go back to the gate. From a distance, they could see several luxurious feather carriages parked in front of the gate, and several restless giant eagles walking around, leaving deep footprints on the snow. This is a giant eagle, Lu Minglian exclaimed. She was shocked by this giant eagle. Etienne squinted at these luxurious feather carriages. And this giant eagle has the cultivation of 8th level spirit refinement realm. It is relatively easy to tame a demon beast. Their greatest use was naturally their ability to fly. When they dragged a few carriages, their speed was many times faster than a horse carriage. As the name suggested, the feather carriage was filled with feathers and carved with divine runes, making the entire carriage light and sturdy. Looks like a certain faction has arrived. To be able to afford this feather carriage, it was definitely not an ordinary force. At the very least, a grade 2 force did not have this ability. Just a giant eagle alone was extremely expensive, and it was not something that could be measured with gold. Immediately, he quickly rushed back to Jade Palace with Lu Minglian, and as soon as he got back, he heard people talking inside. Palace Lord Sure, please think about it carefully. As long as you join our profound Azure Mansion and become our subsidiary, you will be able to get a lot of benefits. We can even make you a branch of ours. In this sense, you're already equivalent to a 3rd grade faction. You can do whatever you want here. The voice that came was very arrogant, high and mighty. Although the content seemed to be discussing plans, it was more of a more forceful transaction. Inspector Gu, I'm sorry. Our Jade Palace does not want to become a subsidiary of your mansion for the time being. The current situation of Jade Palace, we all hope to maintain the original state, to maintain the foundation passed down by the old ancestor. Shi Shuyan politely refused. Inspector Gu frowned. There were not many people coming, a total of 3 people, but each of them was at core condensation. Among them, Inspector Ji's cultivation has reached 7th level core condensation, which is as strong as Shi Shuyan. Although his cultivation is the same, but he is stronger than Shi Shuyan. As the inspector of Qingxian Mansion, the martial arts he cultivates is certainly not low. Earth-level martial arts is extremely rare in 2nd grade faction, but in 3rd grade faction, the quantity is slightly higher, so it is not so scarce. Humph. Are you sure you want to refuse the invitation of a 3rd grade faction? Inspector Gu was extremely dissatisfied. Others can't even beg for this invitation. We came here because we think highly of you. If you don't have our help, it is basically impossible for you to become a 2nd grade faction. Shi Shuyan raised her eyebrows. This is a bit too much. They can now see the future of Jade Palace. As long as they continue like this, they will certainly become a 2nd grade faction. It is not difficult at all. When she was just about to speak, Etienne's voice has already interrupted. I don't know why is it impossible? Etienne walked in with Lu Minglian, looking at Inspector Gu. Sure enough, the stronger forces are all high and mighty. They simply look down on them. But the gap between the two is really huge. There are more than 10 core condensation cultivators, and even more spirit core cultivators. How can a 2nd grade faction compare? Inspector Gu frowned and looked at him. He is very dissatisfied with his sudden interruption. Palace Lord Sure, are these your people? It's not polite to butt in. When Shi Shuyan saw Etienne came in, she smiled knowingly, and immediately said to Inspector Gu, he is the elder of Jade Palace. He is qualified to discuss this matter. Elder of Jade Palace? Inspector Gu frowned. He doesn't believe it. At such a young age he can sit in the position of elder? They just heard that Jade Palace is not bad, but they didn't fully understand the situation, so they don't know the situation of Etienne. Yes, I am the fourth elder of Jade Palace. I don't know why you said we can't promote to second-grade faction? Tianyan said indifferently. I believe that it will not be long before we can promote to second-grade faction. This is not difficult. Tianyan doesn't have a good impression of Qingxian Mansion. When the three major factions attacked, Qingxian Mansion completely cut off all relations. They will not help at all. At that time, he has already blacklisted Qingxian Mansion, although he didn't want to get involved. But since he chose to give up, now that Jade Palace is strong enough, they come to try to rope him in. Anyone would feel disgusted. Inspector Ge is a bit unhappy with Tianyan. Even if it is promoted to second-grade faction, the gap with third-grade faction is too big. If you want more resources, you have to join us. Our Qingxian Mansion has a lot of talented disciples. With your disciple combined, the bloodline born will definitely not be bad. Moreover, this is not the first marriage. But this time we are completely merged. We are not separated from each other. The power is bigger. There will not be any faction that will trouble you. Is that so? When the three major factions attacked, why didn't you help us? And now you want us to join? Tianyan said coldly. Chapter 117. Qingxian Mansion chose not to support them when they were besieged by the three major forces. Inspector Ji's face sank. He didn't feel embarrassed about this question, but he was a bit contemptuous. At that time, they didn't choose to support them, because the three major forces said that they will become subordinates of Qingxian Mansion in the future, so they will definitely choose to support them. They didn't expect the three major forces to be defeated, which made them re-evaluate Jade Palace. They didn't expect that a Jade Palace with only female cultivators would have such a strong force. There is nothing to say about this. At that time, you were too weak, so we abandoned you. Now that your strength is up to the standard, you can join us. Inspector Ge said solemnly. If you want to join us, you are not qualified to join us if you are too weak. Now that your strength is up to the standard, you can join us. Don't you even know this rule? If your strength is too weak, do you think we will accept you? Don't be too naive. You are not a 3-year-old child anymore. His skin was just that thick. He spoke the truth, and did not try to hide it at all. If your strength is too low, you will be abandoned. Survival of the fittest. This is the principle. Inspector Ji's words didn't surprise Tianyan. This answer is normal, he just asked. Of course I understand this, but you are not qualified to join us if you are too weak. Don't confuse it with abandonment, thank you. Tianyan responded. We want to be self-reliant. We don't want to join any sect. We want to rely on our own strength to support the entire Jade Palace. Many sects have their own rules. Those who are too weak can't join. And those who are too weak can't join. Basically the same principle. But they were abandoned, and now they still want to join. This is unreasonable. Tianyan's words made the elders' eyes light up. They need this kind of words. If they are abandoned, they absolutely won't join. Self-reliant is good. There is no need to join the sect that abandoned them. Jade Palace and Qingxian Mansion have a good relationship. Many disciples have successfully married with disciples of Qingxian Mansion. But in the end, they simply ignore this relationship and choose to abandon them. Strictly speaking, it couldn't be considered as abandonment. After all, the two of them hadn't gotten together yet, but their relationship wasn't bad. If even this didn't help them, then there was no way that they would choose to join. Pa. Inspector Gu applauded and looked at them contemptuously. What a self-reliant, supporting the entire Jade Palace by yourself. Do you think you're strong just because you've defeated 3 small second-rank forces? Any random third-grade force can annihilate all of you. All the elders were expressionless as they stared at him coldly. Could this be considered a threat? Any third-rank force can destroy us. But as long as we don't provoke them, nothing will happen to this remote place, Shi Shuiyan said calmly. Very good. Looks like you're refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Inspector Ji's eyes were filled with murderous intent. Then I won't waste any more time with you. We, the Profound Azure Mansion, want to control this area, so we need a sect that has absolute say in this area. and you are a very suitable sect. Now I'll give you a choice. Either you absolutely obey us, so you can not only live, but also get more resources, or you can completely disappear from this world. Finally, after a lot of gentle talk, and after a lot of refusal, the dagger was revealed. The aura of the three instantly surged. All of them are at 7th or 8th level of core condensation. And this is only a part of the power of Qingxian Mansion, not all of it. Elder's face changed. When they felt this aura, they couldn't help but step back a few steps. This aura is too strong. It's the same level as those old ancestors. His cultivation was lower than those old ancestors, but the aura that burst out of him was stronger than those old ancestors. The reason is very simple. This group of people are young enough, have more treasures, and cultivate more powerful martial arts. Yi Tianyun looked at them indifferently, using appraisal eye to show their status. Inspector Ge, 7th level of core condensation, wearing best grade spiritual armor, combat power 160,000. Weakness is what attribute can be restrained. Possible drops: transforming heaven palm, low-grade earth level martial art. Netherworld step, low-grade earth level martial art. Inspector Fong. All three of their data appeared in front of Yi Tianyun. Without using their martial art and weapons, their combat power has reached 160,000. If they take out their weapons, their combat power will definitely reach 180,000, or even 200,000. Sure enough, the level of a 3rd grade force is much higher than those old ancestors of 2nd grade forces. It seems that from the beginning, you have this idea. Shi Shuiyan said coldly. That's right, no matter what, you have to surrender to us. There's no other choice but to die. Originally, those 3 forces were going to merge into one force to help us rule this area. But I didn't expect you to wipe them out. I really didn't expect that your Jade Palace would have this kind of ability. It's really unexpected. Inspector Ge sneered. If you refuse, then unfortunately, I will choose other forces, but from today onwards, Jade Palace will be destroyed. It will no longer exist. It seems that you are very confident that you can wipe out our Jade Palace? Shi Shuiyan's expression is indifferent, without the slightest fear. During this time, her cultivation also advanced by leaps and bounds, breaking through to 8th level core condensation in one fell swoop. Inspector Ge squinted at her and smiled. I know that you have a helper. It should be a peak core condensation cultivator, or even a strong cultivator, who just broke through to spirit core realm. Our guess is that it was either your ancestor or some other helper. Otherwise, how could the 3 great forces be destroyed so easily? In that case, hurry up and call him out. Let us see how strong he is. Several elders look weird. The person who destroyed the 3 forces is right in front of them. It seems that they don't know that Yi Tianyun is the strong cultivator who killed the 3 forces. They only heard that there is a super strong cultivator who helped destroy the 3 forces. But who is it? They are not sure. At least they don't think Yi Tianyun is the super strong cultivator. He looks too young. Shi Shuiyan is already very heaven-defying. It's impossible that Yi Tianyun is also so heaven-defying, right? After waiting for a while, the person didn't appear at all. Where is he? Hiding and not daring to come out? Or have they already left this place? Inspector Ge smiled contemptuously and said, Looks like you're hiding in the dark like a coward. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so confident. Let me repeat myself. Either you surrender to us and obey our orders, or you will be completely obliterated. Of course, Palace Lord sure has to go back with us. Our Mansion Lord specifically asked you to stay. With your talent, it's a very good choice to be our Mansion Lord's concubine. The offspring will definitely be a strong cultivator. Just as he finished speaking, a figure suddenly burst out and appeared in front of him in the blink of an eye. Pa! His whole body was sent flying by a slap. A large part of his face was swollen, his teeth were scattered on the ground, and his mouth was full of blood. Isn't your Mansion Lord a pig? Is he qualified to marry my aunt as a concubine? Damn it, let him go mate with other sows. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference. as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.